What's going on? What's going on, you guys? Welcome on in. My name is the Prominent BEG, and normally I would say this is the Jazz Lounge Journey, but today we have episode 10 of the Antiperfectionist Podcast. Mic is the wrong mic. Oh, I know. I'm gonna fix it in just a second. But today we have our usual co-host here, Mr. Eyes the Artist.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eyes. I'm sure you may know me from my platform over at twitch.tv/III the artist. I'm a musician. I make post-hardcore progressive metal. You can follow me on all there. New music just came out Wednesday, so be free. Be sure to check out the Spotify. Follow me over there and check out that stuff. Back to you, Prominent.
Sounds good, sounds good. And then we also have our very special guest here. We are very excited to have him here today. Everybody, welcome Mr. Nick Howard N7. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Nick?
Oh man, happy to be here. Yeah, my name is Nick. You can call me Nick Howard in Seven as well over on Twitch. I'm a streamer, actor, and voice actor. So yeah, I couldn't wait to hang out with these guys. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Of course, we're glad to have you,
Well, thanks for joining the show, man. Good to have you here. Prominent, why don't you kick things off, bro?
man. Of course, of course.
Okay,
There, I just
everything's
had
good
to
on my
switch
end.
over my mic real quick. So,
Hey,
Perfect. Got it. Yeah, you sound better.
yeah, I forgot to turn on FL Studio. I was like, oh crap, I knew I forgot something. But we out here anyways, you know.
hey, that's right.
So, of course, episode 10 of the Anti-Perfectionist Podcast. Nick over here, I believe you are a actor, I believe. Is that correct? Actor slash voice actor? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I act, voice act. I started out back in 2007. It's crazy to think about. Just doing it for fun and started out in musical theater, So um, did a lot of musicals and then I kind of switched over to doing plays. I wanted to try that out, give that a shot. Um, and then after plays, I just slowly but surely kind of got into the film world. So I got into like TV film, started taking classes like commercial classes. And went to college for film studies too while I was still taking on camera classes and I just wanted to learn everything about it. I just fell in love with it. So yeah, been doing it ever since and still do stage stuff. Not as much as I used to do, but yeah, there's no kind of acting like live acting.
Do
But
you do you try to avoid stage acting at this point?
no, that's a good question. So like usually when it comes to on stage, it's such a huge time commitment, lots of rehearsals. It's usually like three months or so if of just rehearsing like all the time. So sometimes it's 3 to 5 months. You just never know what the schedule is gonna be. And so back in the day when I had the luxury, it was more so like community theater. So it was a lot of community
Mm.
theater. So stuff you're not getting paid for. Now it's like LA is not the biggest like theater market or like stage market, but there are shows you can do, but it's just timing and money. Like if it works out okay, then I would love to be back on the stage. I take an acting class where we do a lot of stage acting. Like we act for the stage in order to prep for the camera, because like prepping for the camera is much easier than prepping for the stage. Because when you live, anything can happen, and
Oh,
it does,
True.
and it does.
yeah. That was one of
Yeah,
the things with
man.
live streaming on Twitch versus doing YouTube. I was like, there's no editing. You gotta be quick
Exactly.
on
It's
your
just
feet
one
when shit
take. It's just
happens.
like you got to, whatever happens,
Stuff
happens, you
happens.
know?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta pivot. You gotta be quick. So
Exactly.
yeah, I
One
know
thing you
y'all get
said,
it.
one thing you said
Yeah.
that LA is not like really like the top scene when it comes to like acting and things like that. I figured that like California would be like the big area where everybody goes to like start acting and things like that, you know.
Mm.
So I figured LA would be like one of the bigger places, unless you're
But
referring to like Hollywood or other things like that. Maybe
I think he's specifically referencing like stage acting, right?
stage acting.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
A lot of people who have dreams in acting and film and stuff like that, I don't know if they have very many dreams about becoming a stage actor. Am I correct or way off base?
It's kind of like a split base. Like usually a lot of people will they want when they think, "Oh, I want to act." They think I want to be like a movie star. Like, that's what a lot of people think, but it's just like it's a completely different world once you like get out here and start learning and get into classes and stuff. So LA in particular is more geared, like it's more friendly to film sets and TV and commercials. Like it's more geared towards that. In New York is where a lot of people go for theater, like Broadway and musicals and plays. And then Chicago's got a pretty good theater, a really good theater world. Same with Minnesota. And then down south that's becoming slowly but surely more of a film hub. Atlanta and Texas area, and Louisiana, like those, because it's a lot cheaper to film there. So a lot more productions are starting to be moved to the south because of that. So it's just the different regions.
Is Vegas big for stage productions?
Yeah, I never thought about Vegas, but I think you're right. Like Vegas does they do a lot of like everything, comedy, they do plays, they do musicals. It is more so geared towards like travelers and tourists as opposed to
like live spot.
Yeah. Like being like the Mecca, like New York is like you got to be cream of the crop to even get considered in New York, as opposed to Vegas. They might look at you a little more in Vegas,
Yeah. Especially for like comedy. Isn't New York like the spot for comedy?
Yeah.
Texas is picking up on it though too.
100%. Yeah. New York's great for comedy. Chicago is dope for comedy too. A lot of people don't know that. Like Second City, and that's one of the spots that like people like Bill Murray went to, and Dan Aykroyd. Like a lot of those guys came out of Chicago. So that's another good spot for comedy. But yeah, Vegas is great for comedy because you got, once you get you a residency somewhere, you set. You can be set for a while. So yeah.
So where are you trying to be? Are like, I guess location wise and career?
It's $1 million question. $1 million question.
Probably got like tons of options.
We heavy hitting, right?
Like, where do I want to end up?
Yeah, it's, what, I'm kind of in between right now, but I like living out here because there's so much stuff to do as far as film stuff, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. I don't think I see myself in LA forever, but where I want to be, like my goal with acting, I always used to say all the time, but my teacher, he's been working it out of me, but I used to always say like, yeah, I want to be just working regularly on like different shows, movies, whatever it can be, and I want to be that actor where people are talking and they're like, oh yeah, I recognize that dude. I can't remember his name, but I know he's really, really good. I was like, I want to be that dude. Yeah, I'm totally cool.
Not like the main protagonist, but somebody who's regularly in films.
Who's just like, like regularly working. But my teacher talked me out of that. He was like, no, you can't say that no more. So I was like, all right. So yeah, I just
is that still honestly, what you want?
It's changed, like that was me when I first moved, but now I'm just like, I have bigger like, bigger goals, aspirations. Yeah, because like I want to be like the main protagonist. I want to be the main antagonist. I would love to do like crime dramas and cop shows and nice. Superhero stuff. Like that'd be dope. Yeah. So like
your voice fits very well for a detective too.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I get a lot of detective roles. I have so many detective roles, but they fun. Like I like doing them, and if if they hit me with some Star Wars stuff, I will not say no. I'll be there. I'll be there.
Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Have
Like
you
with
gotten
your
hit up for
voice, Nick,
Star
I
Wars
can
stuff?
imagine like with your voice, I can imagine you just like having like the type of role that would fit like in a murder mystery film or something like that, set in like some noir type scene or something like that. Like I can definitely
Oh,
see
that'd be
that.
dope. What? That'd be dope. I'll be all about it, man. That would be so much fun, man. 100%.
So let me ask you, there's one question I'm curious about, like, with your voice acting, like, what was it that got you into just streaming, like, on Twitch and stuff in the first place? Was this something that you would help to, like, encourage, like, your voice acting, or is it something that, like, you saw as, like, a hobby on the side or something like that? Or
Excellent question, man. Yeah, I got on streaming in a whim, to be honest. Like I had no thoughts about it. Like I never even considered streaming until two of my friends, my cousin and another streamer friend of mine, both of them at different times were like, "You should try it." And I was like, "Really?" And they were like, "Yeah, like why not? Like, I think you'd be good at it." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Well, what do you do? Like, how is it?" And they're like, "Yeah, you could just play games or just whatever." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." Um, and yeah, it's been dope. I met so many cool people through streaming. I met both of y'all. You know what I mean? So
right.
and I met so many people doing it, and yeah, it's been a blast. I've been wanting to get a little more into it, because right now it's tough with my current schedule, but I would love to be able to put more time into it. So yeah, I got into it on a whim, but I have a lot of fun doing it, and I met a lot of other creatives and voice actors and voice actresses too through there. So yeah, yeah, it's been real cool.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. We all ended up in the same spot right here. I started streaming about a year and a half ago. Here we
Really?
are. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
funny. Like I remember Isaac came into like one of my streams one day, and funny enough, like that day I was doing like a karaoke stream, and I'm normally not one to do like karaoke streams, but I was just doing it just for the fun of it one day, and Eyes just so happened to come in, and you said that like you
Wow.
liked my voice or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I started like playing like the Iwi and stuff, and and I remember
Hey.
after that you had told me that you were like thinking about like starting the stream and things like that.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
that'd be really fun, And then I started to like help you like set it up and things like that. And then over time, as you started to stream more and more, like we ended up getting ideas of like starting like the anti-perfectionist community and stuff like that. Because we all,
Then the
Eyes and I had
podcast
like the
and
same ideas and things like that when it came towards like anti-perfectionism and things like that, and just when it came to music in general.
then I met
Look at us.
then I met Brianna Brittany, and then through her I met Chorn. Through Chorn I met Harmfree. Then after Harmfree it came to you, and the rest was history. Then I met Shalex.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Good old shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I joke about it, but like Harm is literally my proxy to everybody. Like I met every single cool person I know through Harm. Like
Hmm.
actually it was technically through Pugs because I met Pugs first and then I met Harm and then I met like a million other people. You like both of y'all through Harm
Yeah.
and Chorn through Harm, B, Wheezy. Like there's so many homies that I met through Harm. So
Right. I
yeah.
know.
I dislike Shalex, but I like Harm. He's cool.
I love Shalex, dude. Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
definitely
I
say
gotta
that
give a
Harm is
shout
like
to
the
Harm,
ultimate connector when it came to Twitch because he's always on Twitch. So.
Oh yeah.
Every
he
time
don't
I'm in a
play.
stream, I always see him in there somehow. I'm just like, of course he's in here. Like, of course Harm is in this stream too.
Yeah, that's the pro Twitcher right there, for real.
So I'll ask a question that's not meant to end your your any of your opportunities for you. Okay, but so you don't have to answer. But are there any particular voice acting roles that are your least favorite and that you don't like to do?
Ooh, that's fun. I like this one. Yeah, I don't get this question a lot. I like that. Oh man. There's. I'm trying.
Again,
Okay.
if it's gonna mess up your like any opportunities, don't answer. You're good.
No, 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 no. It won't. It won't. I promise. I promise. I feel like because right now I've been getting a lot of stuff that like is my casting. That's kind of like the term that we use. It's like, oh, what's your casting, or like what
Hmm.
roles can you? It's basically what roles can you play when you get out of bed in the morning, and it's like cops, detectives, doctors. I get a lot of that. I get a lot of dads, like the best friend or
Hmm.
guy next door, and I've been getting a little more of like leading role characters now. But man, I would probably say I'm trying to think. My least favorite character that I've ever played was I'm trying. I wish I could remember his name, but he was just like this. He was just like really, really not me. Like it was just completely opposite of me. Like in the worst ways possible. And I was like, how do I even approach this dude? Like I don't understand this character at all. And it's usually like as much as I respect Shakespeare, I hate acting Shakespeare. Like
Okay.
I love seeing other people do it, but I
It's not like a
dislike it.
personality type for you.
No, I mean, because
Yeah.
it's so many people are, they like Shakespeare is like this big thing, and once my teacher explained it, it was like it's really not as big and grandiose as people make it. It's just the language is different. Once you learn the language and what he's actually saying,
Hmm.
there's no subtext because a lot of acting is like, oh, you play the first level, but you also have to play the subtext, like what's not being said versus what's being said. And my teacher was like, "No, Shakespeare. He just tells you right there. Like the subtext. The subtext is the text." And so, but it's just for me. It's just oh man, those are always my least favorite roles are Shakespeare roles. But like it's so hard. Like that language. Like it's so different. It's so difficult for me.
So when
And
they cast people, they kind of try to find like personalities akin to how you are in person, or do they challenge you and really make you try something completely different?
it's kind of a mix. It's very much based on what you can play, like what you can play, what you can bring to the table. Like for an example, a lot of people when they naturally like see me and they like talk to me, they don't think that I would play like this like bad guy character that would like do all these terrible things and uh but those are the characters I love to play because they're the
Uh
most fun to
huh.
play. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is completely opposite of me. Like I'm ready to have a lot of fun with this role. Um, so yeah, it's kind of a mix. Yeah, casting that's another topic because that's a whole topic on itself. But it's interesting because I've gotten to talk and meet with a lot of casting directors, so it's interesting to hear what it's like on their side versus how it is on an actor side, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say one thing for sure, like when it comes to voice acting, like especially when it like gives you like a chance to like try out new fields that you're not really interested in, like I can tell that really relates to like music as well. Like I can say Eyes for example, like when I first met him, like I was one to like never really listen to like post hardcore like progressive metal. And then the more I started like listening to it, like especially through his music, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting, you know. And I've been listening to it like a little bit more. Like people have been introducing me to like different groups and things like that. And especially just the other day, like Harmfree and even Shorn were like introducing me to like, oh, you should listen to this, you should listen to that. I was like, oh, okay, I'm
Hmm.
actually kind of vibing with these, you know. So like,
Nice.
I can definitely say like just being like in the industry like really opens your mind up to a lot of different opportunities. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that so much. Yeah, for real. It really does.
Do you? This is kind of going down a different path. How I always see in movies and film where I feel like anger or sadness would probably, specifically anger, would be one of the easier emotions to convey on camera. I feel like one of the hardest ones is laughing. How do you actually burst out laughing in a scene over a line that you've heard multiple times and make it sound like a realistic laughter, or
Like
make it
sound
look
like
like it?
genuine and
So
stuff.
you can put on a fake smile, but when I'm paying attention to how actors or actresses do that, it's just like it blows my mind that they can probably fake laugh so well.
Mm. That's a dope question. Like now, it's just not many people would think to talk about that. That was an excellent question, man. Yeah, that was dope.
Thanks.
It's it's so funny because a lot of commercials, because I get a lot of commercial auditions, and a lot of those are, like they want you to be the happy-go-lucky fake laugh. They want all of that. And so sometimes they'll like some of these auditions are wild because they will ask you like, oh yeah, just do 30 seconds or 20 seconds of you looking right at the camera and give us your biggest laugh. And it's like, at what? Like, what am I laughing at?
Right.
like
Just laughing
what's
at
what's
nothing but laughing
funny?
at the camera. Like, what is this?
Yeah, I'm like, all right. So it's I try to gauge the audition or gauge the role and see, because like my real laugh is ridiculous. Like it's so obnoxious. So I'm like, do you want me to real laugh? Because I can think about some stuff that'll make me really laugh, or do you want like the fake laugh? Because like it's such a thing in itself, and I had to
Yeah.
like find that pocket to just be like, okay, because if you laugh too loud, then they got the mics, and then you're gonna peak, and then it's gonna be too loud. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it's like
Yeah.
they, or sometimes like my eyes naturally close, like, or get super low when I laugh, and so a lot
Uh-huh.
of times they'll be like, oh, can you open your eyes more? And I'm like, I mean, okay, so now you don't want me to really laugh, you want me to
I
fake
know.
laugh.
You
So
look
I'm
like a
like, all right.
psychopath, dude.
Right.
Look like a
You're like,
psycho.
like what? This is wild. So I'm just like, all right, I use two laugh, like my real laugh, or I use my fake laugh, and so
But
a
your
lot of
real laugh is on
times,
stream all the time.
all the time.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound that obnoxious or loud as you described it. It's
Oh, well,
a
that
it's
makes me
a
happy.
contagious laugh, I think.
Definitely. Definitely see that.
Hey, hey, appreciate that.
Cause
That
I've
makes
seen
me
some of
happy.
like your
Okay, good.
clips, like people have like shouted you out, and I've seen some of your clips or whatever, and it's just like your genuine laugh when you're just like cracking up. It is contagious. It just makes me laugh all the time.
Especially when
Uh,
you're trying to read a long message from somebody typing about Shalex, like harm free or something. You try to get to it. I type out this long message about Shalex, harm free does it, Avery, Chorn, whatever. They start typing out this long message. You make it about a third of the way through and you just laugh your way through it. And
I can't.
it's so joyous.
Oh man, I
Awesome.
appreciate y'all saying that. I'll say they make me laugh with that stupid shit. I'll say that they always make me laugh, man. They get me every single time. So it's a gift. It is a gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I've been curious about is like how competitive is it in like the acting field in general? Like, have you like dealt with like any people or any like, I guess I should say like toxic people within the community that are like trying to like upstage you and things like that? Like,
Look
you know,
at
the
his face.
stereotypical
Look
things
at
like
his
you see like
face.
on
He's like,
TV and stuff,
duh.
and it's just like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm much
dude.
better than you, oh, f- you, and like things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so fun. Like in some of these audition rooms, you see people, like a lot of people are super cool, super chill, and then they'll go in, they'll do their thing, and they'll come out and they'll be like, "Oh, good luck." And I'm like, "All right, you cool peoples, because
Mhm.
it's like you never know what these casting directors are thinking or what they're gonna choose at the end of the day. You can just go in and do your thing and then, move on to the next audition is what I was like taught. But man, like the amount, like some people will try to like they'll try to like fuck you up and get in your head and like just do little things. And I miss this is probably the funniest one that I've ever experienced in my life. Like this dude,
See, he's already
this
cracking out.
dude is I was like, I cannot. I could not hold it together. But this dude was behind me, and we were all waiting. It was like a small waiting area too, and I kid you not, there was not more than 10 seconds that would go by, and he would just keep burping, and I was like, the fuck, like he literally just kept going like. And then I'm just like, is he burping? And then he was like, like, but burping, like, and it was actual real burps. And I'm just like, I ain't never seen this before. And then, but you could tell he was like really doing this to throw people off. So like people were getting up and moving away from him and stuff. And I was just up there cracking up. I'm like, that's some next level, like psychological games to throw you off, you know? And my teacher taught us that. Yeah, because it's like you meet so many, like some actors will just they sit there and they give off these vibes, or you know they'll want to start a conversation with you, and then they'll be like, yeah, I just did this thing, It's like I know the casting director really well, and I'm like I'm really good friends with them, and I know their other I was just at this party with them, and I'm just like, why are you telling me all this? Like, I just met you like 2 seconds ago, like you came up to me. I was fine. Leave out by myself. Like,
I was fine burping every 10 seconds by myself. Leave me alone. I was supposed to chase you away, dude.
Now you're over here telling me all this? Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. Oh man. It's the stories I could tell y'all. And then you get just the straight up like a-hole ones who are super competitive and they just like take it to another level, or they always find a way to make it about them. Like no matter what conversation is happening or they always steer it right back to them.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell that type. And I'm just like, I'm like, I know your type. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm old now. I've been around this a couple times. I'm like, I know what you're doing, dog.
Yep. You get the people who approach you. I had somebody recently approach me and they're like, oh, you're a musician? I'm a musician. He's like, looks like he's coked out, man. He's so hyper. I'm just like, jeez, bro. I was entertaining him. I was like listening. I was like, maybe he is legit. But then he's like, I have platinum records. I have this. I have that. I have my own mixing studio. In these pictures. I'm just like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll meet up Sunday. And then I was just thinking about it more. Ain't nobody that serious gonna come up to you that try hard to
just like boast about all of his accomplishments like right in your face, like the second you meet him, like
yeah, more or less. It's almost like they want something from you for some reason. And what exactly is that? Is it naivety? Is it talent? Is it what are they lacking that they're trying to get out of you?
Validation, maybe.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
what
true.
I usually assume. Like,
so I've just thought about it. I was like, no, I'm not good with this. I don't feel like this is the right thing to do. So I didn't end up going to hang out with him in the studio. But and so when I told him that, he's like, "We're still on for Sunday, right?" Because I saw him like around at a bar where I was playing pool or something. I was like, "Oh man, you know what? I forgot because I actually did legitimately have something that Sunday." I was like, "I actually have this thing." And then before even saying like, "Hey, let's reschedule," he said, threw his hand at me and walked away. I'm like, "All right, dude. Yep, you're so serious, man. Absolutely." Like if you're in that business, you understand that there's constant schedule changing and all kinds of stuff that happen.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And I've had like plenty of instances where I like ran into people too, where they were just like, like the typical just like snotty type and things like that, and they just look down upon you and think they're just better than everybody else. Like I've dealt with that plenty of times, just like back when I was in school and stuff for music and things like that. And like I was grateful enough to get like opportunities and things like that, but like I can remember one time I got an opportunity to play like in a different band and things like that within like it was Emory University. And but I wasn't playing like first trombone in that band. I was playing like second or third. And like the first trombonist, he was like, all right, just make sure you do this right. Make sure you do this right. Make sure you do this right. Make sure it sounds like this. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just here to have fun and just play the tunes. Like it's like, why are you trying to like direct everybody in the section and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. And as soon as he said that, I was just like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing.
You don't know what you're talking about then.
Right, exactly.
It's like one of those things you want to believe it because you're like, oh, this could be maybe somewhat of an opportunity, but then you're like, you think about it for like 10 minutes, and you're like, no, I just didn't feel right from the beginning. You know, it's
Exactly.
weird.
And then
You get that vibe from people.
yeah, and then you have like those types of people. It's just like once they get a certain opportunity, it's like they just end up like choosing to peak, if that makes sense. Like I know a guy like he runs like a jazz big band out here and things like that, and he used to play trumpet within the band, but the old band director he retired, so he asked him to take his place. And after that, like you never hear about him like practicing or like trying to get any other opportunities or anything like that anymore. Like he just like chose to like stick right there. And like it kind of like gave him like a big head a little bit. He's like, I run this jazz big band, like I don't need to do anything else. So I'm just like, and like
Yeah.
his personality started to change a little bit because of that. So it's just like he's kind of a douchebag now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. He let that go through his head. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it
And
pretty
kind of-
competitive then? Like as far as the music industry that you guys have
Extremely,
experienced? Or like,
extremely,
Oh my god.
yeah.
extremely. It was actually your question leads into my question that I seek an answer from you. Is that the music industry is actually extremely musicians are a huge target for scammers. Not like the Shaylex scammer, but like actual scammers. Like we all have music, we all have things that we're doing,
Mm.
and we all want an audience. We want fans, we want plays and stuff like that. So all the time through Instagram, I'm trying to learn marketing. I'm getting advertisements left and right about this marketing, pay for this, pay for that. But a lot of the time, so much of it is just you're burning money for no reason and you're buying bots.
Mm.
This leads into the question to you: how prevalent is that in acting in film? Do you find that that people in your industry are a huge target for scamming as well? And how would that play out?
Yeah. Yeah. It's oh man. Yeah, it's usually the beginner actors. The beginner actors and creatives and actresses, like they get targeted by like it's fallen for this same like trap of there will be like somebody being like, oh, I've been in this many commercials and this many movies and shows, like you should take my class, or you should pay to do this, or you should pay me for being a headshot photographer, because like headshots are like your bread and butter out here, like you know everybody's got to have them. Then you got the people who will scam those newer actors and actresses and having them pay all this money for nothing, or they take like pictures that are just like anybody could have taken pictures better than that on their phone as opposed to what they do, but it's just like
Right.
it's a money grab, and of course new creatives don't know any better, or they get on like a film or something and they sign up to do like a role. They're like, oh yeah, come do this role, like you pay us to be in this project, you know what I mean? And then of course new actors
Yeah.
are like, oh, I guess I gotta like pay my dues, so let me
Yeah.
pay you to be in this project. And it's just like absolutely not. Like, or agents. Good lord, I could talk
Let's
about
go.
that
Go into it, please.
Oh
Get
man,
into
I
it,
can rant
yes.
about that. What
Let's
off.
go.
there are so many scammer agents, it's fucking bananas. But like most people don't know about it. Like I got scammed once, or I almost did when I was in Chicago, because there was this agent who, she was like, oh yeah, like you just come to my agency, like and everything looked legit, had a website, had all these things. And I came there, I did like a little audition. This is an older lady too, so it was just like she was super non-assuming, you know what I mean? And so I did this audition, and then she was like, okay, great, like yeah, like I really like your look. Like, okay, so you would just pay like $1,000, like this like $400 will get you headshots, like the $200 of this will get you access to our website, and then the rest would be like so we can put a profile up on our website to submit you, because we only submit through our website. And I was like, No, that ain't right. Like, come on
To
now.
pay to get
I'm
access to
like,
a website,
what?
especially that much, that sounds like bullshit
Yeah,
right there.
it's total bullshit. I mean, this was back in 2010, I think, when this happened. So it was like when I was just getting into the world, but I was just like, I'm not paying that much, dog. I was like, I'm not paying you to be on this website that I and I even checked the website out. I'm like, it's like 40 people on here. I'm like, ain't no way people are casting off this ass website. I'm like, there's no way.
Nah,
It was
nah.
janky as fuck. I'm like, ain't no way. So I was just like, man, after that, I had to be more careful because there's so many horror stories of like agents being like, yeah, you just pay me this much or pay this much, and then we put you on our website or our domain. But when you like learn, when I moved out here, everybody was like, yeah, if an agent ever asks you for money, it's a scam because they only get paid when you get paid because
That's
they have a
crazy.
commission out of your check or the production. What they've been doing lately, which is dope, is that the production will pay you separately. So they'll pay you and then they'll pay your agent there like 10 or 20%.
Yeah.
But as opposed to it used to just come out of your own check, which is fine because they're putting in a lot of work. But yeah, so the agents, they have to like, if a good reputable agent has to believe in you in order to want to rep you because they're going to be working for free until you book. You know what I mean? So it's an investment on both sides.
Both.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, man, a lot of these, agent or these scam agents will say like they rep so and so or Dustin Hoffman. They say like all these names just to get people's attention. And then they're like, yeah, well, Dustin Hoffman paid me, for $500. So if you just pay me too, and then they just getting all this money for nothing. You
They
know what
probably
I
do the
mean?
sale
So,
thing too, don't they? The sale
oh,
tactic. Like this
oh
this
yeah.
course is actually usually worth $17,000, but
But for you, I charge only like
for my friends,
16,000.
which I met you
Yeah,
last week, but yeah, for my friends,
for
it's
my
a
friends,
subscription
it's
based service for $3,000 a month. That's it. Ain't nothing but a thing.
Only 3,000. It's not like I
only
got rent to pay
3,000.
or anything. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to live or survive. No big deal,
Right.
Yeah,
Do
only
you like
16.99. Yeah,
do you in the music industry, a lot of us starting out and trying to build an audience really
yeah.
have to be marketers ourselves. Do you find in the acting industry that you have to become a marketer too, or is the landscape completely different?
It's changed now. It has definitely changed. It used to be very like there was always that joke about, oh, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, and that's just real out here.
That's
Like
still real in music too.
it is. I believe that. I believe it a thousand
It's
percent.
very real.
I totally believe it because it's like you can see actors where you could be like, yeah, like if like I know 10 actors off the top of my head that are like the best actors I've ever seen, but they haven't gotten their chance yet. But some of these other actors out there, they're not as good or not as experienced in acting. They're getting chances left and right because of who they know, and I see that a lot.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it's very.
Like network based in a way.
It is like is very 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 network based, and a lot of what I've been seeing now too is there's people who are they're doing like a bunch of different TikToks and stuff and a bunch of Instagram reels and stuff to just be like do like funny skits or they play different characters and they do all these skits and then they're getting signed by like top two or three agents in the world. And because they have such a big following,
Yep.
like that's becoming a thing too, is like a big following. It's it's very it's an interesting subject right now because I met a casting director recently and that casting director was like, well, our office doesn't care, but there are offices that care about that, like follower count. Like, are you posting or are you sharing your stuff or are you doing skits or doing little things just to show your range? And I'm not one that does that, but it's like at what
Why
point?
does it
Yeah,
feel? Does it? Why don't you do it? Does it feel forced and unnatural to you?
I think I'm kind of at an impasse because I feel more like that I should, as opposed to the fact that do I actually want to? Because I don't really want to. That's like
Yeah.
another job, and it's just like I have to put time and energy into that and trying to come up with ideas for like skits or if it was something like doing little monologues here and there, like I can do that, or doing little like scenes and stuff, like I could do that, but it's just like skit stuff, and I'm just like that. I just don't want that to take too much of my energy and take away from things like streaming or being available to like audition. And some of these auditions come in crazy last minute, so it's like it's more so that like I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to it. I just part of me, I wouldn't know where to start, and I wouldn't want it to take over my life, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is a lot of time. I did about a month ago where I put a reel up every single day, about a
Mhm.
week almost. Dude, I spent like most of the day just recording ahead of time for the week,
Yeah.
and then getting one posted, then starting to edit. Then the rest of the few days was just editing it. 30-second, 45-second, minute-long reels.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they're going to work.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
There's no guarantee, even after doing all that work, too.
Yeah.
Algorithms, and is it
But I figured I had to start.
people?
Yeah, I had figured I had to start somewhere. At least I
Yeah.
have some more direction as to from now on with my reels and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can also see why it makes sense as to why people dedicate so much time to like posting on like social media and things like that, because like you said, like a lot of agencies, they see those as kind of like resumes in a way, so they
Yeah.
just look at like your social media. They can look at your Instagram, see all the reels that you have or whatever, and like you said, if you have a huge following, that's already like a bit of a gateway right there for you.
True.
Plus, with like, and they'll look at like the productivity or production like value of like your skits and all that stuff, and like whatever you do on there, and just like see, it's like, okay, he could be useful, things like that,
Yeah.
But at the same
It's
time,
a brilliant
so much
concept.
work and it takes up so much time.
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's such a brilliant concept, and I've seen so many musicians just kill it on there. I've been seeing that. I've been getting a lot of that in my algorithm. It's just musicians doing different, types of just like the like Star Wars songs or just anything, just like to
Yeah,
and it's dope. Like it's dope to see. And then I've seen some acting ones that are really cool. And another thing that's getting more traction is like people are doing like mini soap operas with acting and stuff, but it's just like as reels or as TikToks and stuff. And I think it's brilliant. It's such a brilliant concept. For me, it's literally just a time thing for me. Like it's mostly just time. But I've seen so many, like one of my homies, he for literally like a year and a half, he just went hard and did a new video every single day. And he has seen like his growth is insane. He ended up getting like some really cool opportunities, and he's dipping back into like the acting world because of, how big his following has gotten. And it can work. It definitely can. I think for me, I would just need guidance and like a set time schedule thing. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm definitely not.
Yeah, the self-discipline is a really difficult thing to manage sometimes.
oh for sure.
But you
I
get
know
better
that's
at
one
it.
of the issues that I have is just this self-discipline and just actually planning stuff out on what I want to do, because I know those people, they probably just have like ideas just like down the line for like the next like few months, if anything. Because like those types of people, they'll like post like a new like skit or something like once per week or something like that, and it always seems like a fresh idea, and it's like, where do you get all these ideas from? And it's just like a lot of them, they just take that time and just write down stuff and just have like a list to go down.
Yeah.
But it snowballs too. That's the thing that I feel needs to be said and understood. Like sometimes you don't know where to start, and sometimes that's actually, while it can be a very scary concept, it's very freeing too, because you can just try something And if it doesn't work, you try something else. And it keeps going. And then somebody will comment, and then that'll strike an idea. Then something kind of works. Then you decide that you want to try so many other things. It ends up being that you have a ton of ideas down the pipeline naturally because you just started and didn't just wait. Does that make sense?
I think so.
That does. Yeah, I think I do understand that. Yeah, like so you saying that since you've started doing that, it's like how's your experience been? Like you enjoying it or how's it been?
I am gotten on a more, my real postings have definitely slowed or come to a slow, but I understand a little bit more as to what works and what doesn't work through just even 1 week of just trying it.
Yeah.
Like I tried a few funny things. I tried a few like promotish type of things. I don't really like being a promotey type of guy, but that's almost what your Instagram reels kind of need to be. It's like a promotional aspect for you, I think, and just it's like a to funnel people to where you want them to actually be. For me, in my case, it's my Spotify. For you, I would surmise it's a lot of your films and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, definitely like the actor reels and website. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Instagram is just a very tip of the iceberg, if you will, just to kind of get people. And some of the things that I can tell you that I told Prominent earlier that I actively think about when I'm making reels now is the first 3 seconds, make sure it's completely attention grabbing as much as you can, almost outlandish, just to make people, just to get that hook. Then a good thumbnail is another important one. There's the concept of call to action. So you usually tell people, be sure to comment below and tell me what you think. So when people comment, it picks up in the algorithm, the comments you have. Another one I picked up was after you make the post, comment on it yourself, asking the question that you want answered, and then pin it to the top of the comment. So it immediately picks up in the algorithm that there is a comment on it. Then people see it, and then they start answering your comment. Hopefully it snowballs. And it's all the weird, small psychological stuff that adds up to just being somewhat how marketing works. Marketing is very manipulative, and you just have to hit the algorithms right, I guess.
That's always like the word. Like that's always like
and
the keyword right there. It's just algorithm, you know.
And that's just the very tip, man. I'm still studying marketing more and more myself.
Wow. I never would have thought that. Like to pin your comment, wow, that's wild. Yeah, that makes sense though. It makes 100% sense. Because now that I think about it, every single reel or something that has said, they always have that first top comment where they're asking, or like a poll. I've seen that a lot too. Which would you choose type of thing? And I'm just like, man, it's brilliant. It
and
really
I've also heard that Instagram will. I don't know how true this is because I can't see the code, but I've also heard that they don't like when you write the word link in your post. Like, check the link in my bio. You put the emoji instead. Check the link emoji in my bio, and it gets around that. That's what I've heard from Fat Loud.
Wow.
There's also, you can't post links in your posts, but you can add your post to your story and add a tappable link right there.
That's true.
The only thing with your story is most of the time it only reaches your follow base, but the larger your follow base gets, the more people see that tappable link. And you kind of have to disassociate. I don't know. You have to disconnect yourself and like your personality from your marketing. Like I said, I hate being a spammy guy. I do. But Instagram is not a personal account for me. It's my business account. This whole thing is music. It's a business. And once you start kind of thinking like that, you kind of just be like, okay, cool. Now let me find good ways to advertise that are less intrusive, less annoying, and more engaging. Do I sound like a scumbag? You can answer honestly.
Absolutely
yes.
not.
No,
Actually,
both sides of the
you
spectrum
do.
right there. Complete opposite answers.
I changed my answer. Absolutely, you do.
I could definitely agree though. Like I hate being the type of like spam stuff and things
I
like
hope
that.
I
And
don't sound like a
try to,
scumbag. That's not my
steer
intent.
away from it in a way.
You
like,
didn't at all.
No, definitely not. But
I
like, I
did-
hate like trying to like spam stuff and just like, oh, you should listen to this. Oh, you should go listen to that. And it's just like, because a lot of people,
Because everyone's
like,
doing it.
yeah, exactly. A lot of people are doing it, and plus, like, a lot of people on Instagram, mostly it's just like they're on there for personal reasons. They just want to scroll in to see what their friends are up to, or just like scroll and see reels and just send reels to their friends and things like that. And they see a bunch of like promotions, they're gonna get driven away most likely. And it's hard not to become that type of person to be like, oh, listen to this, go see what's up with this. Like, oh, I'm about to do this, go check it out. You know?
Yeah, that's why I try to sprinkle in some other. Like I put a picture up for the first time, and it actually got me more followers. It got me like 2 extra followers off of one picture, versus that whole week of putting reels. Nothing. My account had like 2,000, 2.5, 3,000 views in total on the reels that I put up, but nothing. And a lot of it was from non-followers. I was looking at my statistics, but I put up a picture saying, "Hey, this is a new picture that I have on my Spotify. What do you guys think?" Now there's that call to action. Let me know what you think in the comments, that type of beat. But like people liked it and got a couple followers. And I was like, oh, Instagram's still good for pictures? Okay. So that's another thing I learned too. Like mixing up the content style and the type, it does change things. So
that's brilliant. I mean, that's good to know. Yeah. Like Instagram, y'all still do pictures? Okay. Yeah. Like what?
That's what I was saying, dude. It's bizarre. But I mean, like I said, I don't want to sound scummy, but I did learn all of my marketing is from Shalix, and that's
He's
that's
just
why
a Shalix promoter.
Now you for sure sound scummy.
He's just a Shalix
like,
promoter.
It's like, okay, never mind all that stuff. Just hogwash garbage.
It's all I know
This podcast
about
is
now.
brought to you by Shalix. You know?
Yeah.
Well, about time for me to get going now.
About time for me to get out of here. Shoot. Oh no, I'm playing. I don't know. Hopefully that was interesting. I kind of want.
It really was.
I think it's super. It's super fascinating. You know what I mean? It's just to watch how much the world shifted to social media, and then just to how much it pushes things. And like, there's so many, like, you know, undiscovered musicians that I found through algorithms because I was just like, oh, that song sounds dope. Like, I'm gonna follow them. You know, like, I like that sound, all because, you know, like, it's like, yeah, I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to approach it, and especially when you. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. My teacher always says, like, you have if you have a talent, it needs to be shared. You know, in whatever way that means to you. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that, you know. And a lot of artists and certain things, it's like you can't be discovered after you die. So do all the things you can do while you're here to make that happen for yourself. And I'm like, that's cool. So
that's probably going to stick with me that you say that, because now I won't look at Instagram as such. It actually does legitimately change my perspective a little. It's not so much a spammy advertisement platform. It's, if you have a talent, it needs to be shared.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And I think it's my responsibility to figure out how to share that in a way that doesn't feel intrusive, a way that's going to genuinely be engaging, because I try to not use an advertisement.
I feel that 1,000%. Like, do you feel like it feels intrusive, like, to you, or do you feel like it just to them? Is my question to you.
To me, are you saying if I'm watching it from my perspective, does it feel intrusive, or are you saying does something feel wrong about doing it?
Yeah, like from, I guess, a little bit of both. Like, have some of your friends or something, or people you trust, like, watched it, and then have you asked them to be like, yeah, like, how does it feel to you? Does it feel too spammy? Does it feel?
It's interesting.
Because, you know, we're always, as artists and creatives, we are the most critical of ourselves. Like,
yeah,
I like
always in our own head.
through the roof, like for real. Like anytime I do any performance, I'm like, all right, what was I doing? I try to play it back in my head. Like, did I miss this part? Did I hit this part how I
Could
wanted
I
to
have
hit
done
it?
this better?
I
It's
have
just
people
like,
getting on me all the time.
Yeah,
You overthink everything. Just
yeah.
just you're doing fine. I was in a call with Yolton Prominent recently, and they were like, "What the fuck? You feel like you're not doing good right now, dude? You're at the top of the game right now. I've never seen it like this.
yeah,
Just
we
keep
literally
pushing."
had
And
to
I was like,
tell you
"Damn,
that because you were just like, I feel
okay."
like I'm slipping. I feel like I'm at a standstill. Me and Yoltz literally told you like, no, you're doing great. What are you talking about? Like,
And that's such an
coming up with
important
everything.
thing. Yeah, that's such an important thing to have with the community. That's why I don't, and I will answer your question. It's in my mind. That's why I don't like that concept of just from 11:59 p.m. to midnight, all of a sudden becoming a star. You have no idea the hardships that you have to handle,
Yep.
in all of this stuff, and all of the ups and downs that you have to face to feel if you're actually with it, if it's something that you actually want. If you're building from absolutely the ground roots and you can still get through all of it, then yes, you've proven you. That's how I feel about it. And having a community around you guide you and tell you, no, you're doing fine, or no, you can make improvements here. I feel like it's almost invaluable. Like you can't place a value on it. You can't really ask that. It's kind of just you build it and somehow come across the right people, like Prominent, Yeltsin, everybody in the anti-perfectionist community.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm just like grateful for the community in general. It's always good to have just other perspectives on just like on your own work and things like that in general, and just like genuine people that really care about your work and they want to see you grow. And that was like one of the main reasons why we made the anti-perfectionist community in the first place,
Yeah.
not even just to like help each other grow, but to make genuine friends along the way.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, how it feels from my perspective when I'm posting, sometimes it feels a little spammy, stuff like that. But then I remind myself that Instagram is more of a platform to, like I said, tip the iceberg and share your talent, right? Get eyes on it. And your other question is to how does it feel whenever other people watch it? Well, at first I was doing just kind of nonsense stuff, just weird things that I think are funny, things that happen to my. Sometimes I just connect it to an Instagram reel, just like out of context humor type stuff.
Mhm.
And somebody who's helping me with Instagram was like, okay, it's good that you're posting this stuff, but you need to do more advertising style. Like you need to get people to like understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. I was like, interesting. So my style has shifted based off of feedback that I have freedom. I have the room to be a little bit more nudging, saying, hey, check out new song and stuff like that, without worrying about it coming off as, look at me, pick me energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel that.
I haven't asked him for feedback in a little bit, so I'd have to see what he says now.
I feel that.
One question
I
that
feel it, man.
wanted to ask both you guys actually, like what was it that like kind of motivated you to like start acting in the first place? Like, do you have like background like inspirations and things like that, or just like people that you seen that were like, I want to try something like that, or just kind of like pushed you to like motivated you to like start doing it in the first place?
Oh man, this is this is a fun story to tell.
I'm looking forward to hearing.
Not many
it,
people know this. Not many people know this story, but I love telling it to. So I'm happy to share this with y'all. All right, so it was back in '07 when it was literally my senior year of high school, and I was just like, yeah, I want to do different things this year. It's my senior year. I want to do different stuff, try different things. You know what I mean? And I had watched. I'm not even kidding. I watched a Disney Channel movie, and that movie was all about trying something different. You remember them original Disney Channel movies they were like once a month? They was dope. I was
They
like,
were all
man,
so good. Man.
we was eating good back then. We was eating good back then.
You're talking about like Camp Rock and
yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I was hooked. I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. I had to see if it was
Lemonade
good or
Mouth.
not.
Like Cadet
Yeah.
Kelly and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Johnny Tsunami, boy, that was my
Right.
jam. Yeah. Like man, I watched a lot of those, but literally as I was having those thoughts, like I saw one and it was exactly the same concept of just trying something different or putting yourself out there, trying something new. So I was like, all right, I want to try something different. And then no joke, that next day there was announcements because a lot of times it's I remember being senior year of high school. I'm just like half the time I wasn't even listening to those announcements, but I
Mhm.
tuned in that day and I heard that they were doing like auditions for like the upcoming musical, and I was like, okay, I had I've had a background in singing since I was a kid, and so I was like, I've never done this before, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see how it goes. And of course, I was like super nervous, but I went, and like it changed my whole life. Like everybody turned around while I was like doing my singing part, and they were like, they were like, "Are you a freshman?" And I was like, "No," and they were like, "Where you been?" I was like, why have you not been here? And they were like, "Are you like sophomore?" I was like, "I'm a senior." They was like, "A senior?" I'm like, "So this is your first and last show here?" And I was like, "I guess so." But they were like, "You should have been here." And I was like, I just never, it could never occurred to me that that would be like a fun thing to do. And so I did it, and I had some of the most fun um, in my life. It was a blast. You know what I mean? Like the people, like the theater acting community, like when you find like the good sides of it, like they are so supportive, loyal, like they're such homies that I'm still like
Mhm.
friends with to this day. And it just felt like I was going to like my cousin's house or something like that, and I was just hanging with people that like to do the same thing. Like that's what it felt like to me. And so that's what got me started. And so after that musical, when we finished that and we wrapped, later that summer there was an auditions for a completely different musical, different like location, everything, like in my hometown. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Why not? And then it literally just snowballed, and it just kept snowballing into
Sweet.
where I am now.
That's
You know
sweet.
what I mean? So
Hmm.
so I gotta say, Disney Channel original movies, y'all, they put us on. So, yeah, they put us on. I never would have did it.
Eating good back then.
We eating good,
Yeah,
man. Hmm.
that's sweet, man.
Yeah. What about you, Eyes? Because I wanted to ask you this
Me,
too. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
what got me started?
yeah.
I mean, my parents raised me and my family on just being in a two-piece band, just the two of them playing bars and venues, stuff like that. They didn't work regular jobs. It's crazy to think that you're at that time able to do that. Still difficult, but musically inclined, and I started writing music when I was like 12, and
Mm.
just a few times in my growing up, I have tried twice now. Twice now, I've tried the music career, and I'd always walk away from it because it wasn't quite what I wanted. And most recently was the last time I walked, 2019. I was trying to break out into the EDM scene, clubs and DJing, all kinds of stuff, but I was getting tired of making that music. But I think, even thinking about it when I woke up today, because I still think about it, I don't think I ever really wanted to make that music for good. I've always wanted to make the stuff that I'm making now, so I feel a lot more connected to it.
Mm.
But I did 31, and I've done a lot in my life. I've pretty much done everything that I've wanted to do at this point, maybe other than travel. But I mean, that's just a quirky thing about me. I want to travel. I'm just quirky like that. No, but no, but I've done a lot, thankfully, and always taken risks. Moved across the country twice now, and at some point after doing everything that I wanted to do that was on my bucket list, I still realized I'm young and I'm still turning up empty-handed, and I don't have anything else that I want to do other than music. And this time, I was like, all right, well, that's going to be my career choice. I don't want for company. I don't want for somebody like in company wise. There's not anything that interests me that feels like my life's calling. So it's everything that I am. So I put my head down and started learning guitar, how to scream, learn the stuff that I wanted to write, and it's never been so much easier to enjoy music and the whole process of it. And now I'm at the point where I have given up so many times, and that's learning marketing and pushing through all the hard times. I've just recently pushed through a really, really hard wave and come out on the other side, and thankfully never been better. And I have a lot of you guys to thank for that. The support is everything. But it's this time, it's not a back out option. This is it. I know it's not a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year plan. It's like 10, 20 years. These things take a long time to build, and I'm in there. I'm in there like swimwear.
Hey, my man. Let's go. Hell yeah. What about you, Prom?
I can definitely say that I was really not pushed or forced or anything, but I received a big push around middle school. So when I first started band around 6th grade, a lot of people don't know this, but it's when you start a band and you're trying to choose your instrument, they give you a bunch of different mouthpieces to try out. So it's okay, we'll see which one you're most compatible with, and then you can choose that instrument if you like. And a lot of people don't know this, but trombone wasn't my first choice, because for people that don't know, trombone is my main instrument when it comes to music. But the instruments that I got were saxophone and trumpet. But the reason I didn't choose those was because I just saw the class, and literally everybody else was choosing those instruments. I was I don't want to do what they're doing. I don't want to pick the same instruments as them. Everybody's already doing that. So I ended up trying trombone, and then funny enough, it ended up actually being a lot easier for me to play trombone than it was the other ones. And then by close to the end of my 6th grade year, before I ended up switching schools, I remember I was getting introduced by the band director or whatever, and I remember the band director telling the class, he's yeah, he was actually one of the best trombone players in the 6th grade, and I was wait, really? And I was I never heard that before. I was shocked or whatever.
That's
and then
crazy.
My dad, he actually knew the band director of the high school marching band at the time, and so what they did was they gave me the opportunity to play in the high school marching band while I was only in middle school. So I was only in 7th grade when I was playing with all these high schoolers and stuff. Mind you, I was only 12 years old, and I'm playing with all these high schoolers that are between 14 and 18 years old. And being in that field gave me a lot of big pushes and things like that. So because the band director, he really pushed me to play notes that I really couldn't play, even though I was still only a year into playing trombone and things like that. And mind you, this was a different type of school where the marching bands there were a little more disciplinary, and they worked a lot harder and things like that. Kind of the types of marching bands you see in the movie Drumline or something like that, That's kind of how it was. So it was a lot of work, and there were times I was just this is hard. I don't know if I want to do this, because I was still a little kid, And I just wanted to goof off and things like that. But at the same time, I didn't, because I enjoyed it so much and I had so much fun. So that really gave me a push to keep going, and the more I just did it, the more fun I had. And I was just I really love playing trombone. I love being in the marching band and things like that. So by the time I got to high school, it was a whole different change of pace, because the marching band there was they didn't really do as much as they did with the marching band that I was in. And it really gave me a different perspective in a way, but it was still gave me something new that I really wanted to try when it came to just playing music. And overall, it just opened my mind up, and I was just yeah, music is really what I want to do. I don't really see myself doing anything else that I'm going to enjoy as much as I do with just playing music and playing trombone and things like that, of course. And then over time, I got to experience new things playing in the jazz band for the first time. And it was kind of similar to you, Nick. I didn't join the jazz band until my senior year of high school. Yeah. And then they were asking me why didn't you do this sooner? Why didn't you do this? I was I don't know. I didn't think about it. I was you know what? Let me try it. And it's it's my last year. Let me try something different, And they're yeah, you need to do this more often. And I kind of agreed, because after being in that jazz band for that semester, I was having a crap ton of fun, And and that's why I always tell people like when it comes to like playing in like jazz band versus like just playing like in the regular like symphonic band where you're playing a lot of classical music and stuff. I feel like for me jazz like just gives a lot more freedom when it comes to playing, or freedom of expression, I used to say. And like it really gave me just like more of an open field when it came to just playing and things like that. So that's when I started like really diving deep into jazz and things like that. And then honestly, I can say like the rest is history in a way. Just being able to play jazz and be able to have the freedom to really express yourself through an instrument is really what I love the most about it. And as I was growing up, I've gotten to meet more and more people through college and things like that.
And here,
Yeah, exactly, and especially through the anti-perfectionist community, and just
I meant
through,
Twitch. I wasn't I wasn't brown
I was
nosing
just
our
about
own
to say
community.
Twitch as well, like just being able to meet all these other musicians and things like that. And every time I meet somebody new, it gives me new perspectives on things, and they really help me learn a lot of things that I didn't even know I could learn.
Yeah.
And that's really what I love about just music in general. I'm always learning new things almost every day, even through people that are not really tied to the music industry, but just the art industry in general, you know. I'm really able to be grateful that I'm able to learn a lot of new things, and it really helps me help develop myself as a person in general, not even just musically, you know. So.
Yeah.
I love that, man. That's that both of y'all stories are so dope. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool, and
Thanks.
it's always dope connecting with like fellow creatives and whatever the field, you know, whatever field that may be. Like one of my favorite quotes that I heard a couple years back was like, it was something along the lines of like, because they asked him like, "Oh, what's your plan B?" And it was like, "There's no plan B." I'm like, "Plan B only exists to distract from plan A." I'm like, "There's plan A,
Yep.
that's it." And I was
Yep.
like, "Hell yeah!" As soon as I heard that, I was like, "I'm latching to that." Because you know, you never know when, you know what I mean, and if you really love it, then that's all that matters, you know.
You're not gonna
It'll
give up
happen
on
when
it
it's
at
supposed
all.
to. Exactly.
Even
Yeah.
in the industry, you're going to question yourself so many times. You know, like, should I
Yep.
just settle in and do like the easier route and stuff like that? But I've tried the easier route so many times. I still ask the question, why am I settling? Shouldn't I be trying the harder? So either way, you're going to be asking deeper philosophical question to find what's going to fulfill you in life.
100% agree with that. Like, man, that speaks to me what you just said for sure. Like I remember before like maybe a year, just under a year before I moved to LA, I had like I have like my cousins and I have good friends who are like ingrained in like the fire department back in my hometown, and I was like I started taking classes and stuff. Like I was like this close, and like my one of my cousins was a lieutenant, and then my other cousin's dad was a captain. So it was kind of like, yeah, I basically could get in as long as I do the classes and stuff. But every single class, I was just like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I was like, this is interesting. I'm like, but this isn't like soul fulfilling for me. You know, I have so much respect for what they do, but I was just like, I can't. It's like I can't do it. I have to give like myself at least I have to really actually try to do this thing and get into acting the way I want to get into it and reach those goals. And yeah, that was almost 10 years ago, which is
Oh
crazy to
man.
think about. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
And you're
and,
happy,
and I'm
right?
so happy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool.
love what I do. You know, I really
Yeah.
do, man. Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I think a lot of people tend to ignore that internal voice or don't quite understand that. I don't really know. It's like risk aversion to
Hmm.
have, and you can't fault them for it because you understand. You
Yeah.
know, so it takes a lot to just start by making that decision, but it's also an ultimate test to your endurance because, like I said, you have to have a lot of something in your field or our field. Yeah,
Mhm.
But if it's what you have, it's what you have. I had a big wake up moment whenever I used to part time for a couple schools for some classes.
Mm.
And I remember showing up to class one day to help the teacher. He's excited because he's like, all right, I get to retire in a month. Like next week, I get to, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And I was like, sick. And then I was scheduled to go back like a week later or a month later, whatever. And the day that or a couple days before I went in, I got a call from them and they said, don't come in. Class is canceled. He died. I was like, and that just like hit me right there. I was like, he's like 50 something, 50 years old, working a job. Hopefully he liked it. But if he didn't, that was his entire life. And it really helped me immediately put things into perspective. Because like, it's when you said you never know. That's exactly what came in my head too. You don't ever know when your time is, so make it worth it. And I just only hope he's in a better place and that his family's doing it right. Because man, that's just sudden and unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Especially when you're about to retire too.
Wow.
That's crazy to think about.
Yep.
Ugh. Yeah.
I know.
Oh man, that is. But like you said, I hope you liked it too. You know what I mean? I really do. But that's definitely thanks for sharing that, man. That story is that's gonna stick with me for sure. For sure.
Oh, I was more concerned that I brought down the mood. So
Well, you did, but you know.
You did. You always do. You always bring down the mood just by being here. You're bringing
Thanks a
down the mood.
lot.
I was trying to enjoy some whitest kids you know, but then you made the show a sad show. Great.
Look what you did.
No, I'm playing. I have another question. Neither of you guys have a question. It goes back to the technical side of things. Technical side of acting that I probably could have asked earlier, but I didn't want to stack too many of them on top of you at once. In how much do you feel that you struggle or other actors or actresses struggle the silent parts of your role? How to make it look like you're not just thinking of your next line, how to actually face to where it feels like an actual genuine interaction and you're actually reacting to what the other person is saying. So much can be said in parts with zero dialogue, all in facial reaction. How big of a struggle is that for you and other people in the industry?
Man, you did your homework. Okay, you asked some good questions. I was like, what? Did you take some classes or what? Nobody ever asked these questions. I love it. Man, I love it. Honestly, bro, like, for me, I think it was a little bit of a struggle at like the very beginning of my acting career because I was very much just trying to make sure that I gave my scene partner what they needed and what they wanted. You know what I mean? And so, but I think I was also kind of in my head because the more like time that I've spent acting, my teachers, you know, they taught me and they were like, yeah, like just be engaged. You know what I mean? Like don't like that's where the rehearsal process comes from. But it's just like be engaged and be one of my teachers said, don't worry about being interesting, be interested. Like be interested in what's happening, be interested in what's being said, what's like what the circumstances are. So for me, I didn't have to deal with it as too much of a struggle for long because once that was told to me, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I can just kind of bring my natural how I am because when I'm talking to people and I'm like genuinely talking, I'm like, I'm listening and I try to like active listen, but because it's just, I'm always just like, yo, this is super fascinating. Like, 'cause it's always something that, you know, things that I never think about or, you know, things that I never would have, I guess, come to on my own without talking to this specific person or these specific people. So once I brought that in, that changed everything for me tenfold, because it is, you know, a lot of times I remember listening. It's just when the other actor's talking, just depending on what the mood is. Like if you're mad at him, then a lot of times it's like I think of, okay, you as a person, not the character. What can I do if you're mad at my character? What can I do to piss you off even more so that you get even more mad at me? I'm like, should I turn away from you? Should I just, you know, wave you off and turn away, or, you know, like act like I'm not listening to you? You know, like what should I do? Or like when you say your next line, should I interrupt your line quicker? Like what's going to make you mad? Because then that's where the good stuff happens, because most people like to see, like, you know, if you're going to watch something, you want to see your characters or people you're rooting for, you enjoy, you know, you want to see them get into trouble, or you want to see them happy, or you want,
controversy of some sort.
yeah, like, you know, that's what you're there for, you know. And so that helped me. But I have definitely seen some actors and actresses like just struggle with that aspect of it, because they get too in their head, or if they like they skip a line, or we'll say like, oh, they went up, so it's just like they forgot their line. And so it's sometimes that can bring out some beautiful moments, and sometimes it can completely take the actor out of it. And so you can tell they're just they're like out of it, and they're trying to think of their next line, or they're trying to think of a way to get back into the scene. But when you overthink, you take yourself all the way out of the scene, and now not only can you see it, but the audience can see it too. So it's interesting. It really is. And for me, like kind of circling back, bringing it back full circle, that's how I feel I am with Shakespeare. I feel like I'm kind of like here, just watching myself do like the scene, as opposed to actually living it, because I'm just like, man, I just struggle with it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I enjoy just the silent parts of it, just because you tell so much relationship, you tell so much of a story by not talking. You can probably tell more of the story by not talking, you know, as opposed to when you're actually talking. Like, I'm rambling. I'll do one super quick
No,
story.
keep going. Keep
No,
going.
you're
'Cause
good,
I'm
man. Ramble on.
relating to it.
All right, it's solid, it's solid. I had this scene in acting class this past week, and we did it from a scene from the show, the newer Mr. and Mrs. Smith show from Amazon, with like Donald Glover, like, you know. And we, before we even started talking, me and my scene partner, she was like, yeah, let's just kind of like sit in the moment for a little while, because, you know, the scenes, like, we're really gonna argue with each other, but we wanted it to seem like this is just a regular, chill, good, happy scene, until it's not. And so we were doing that, and then my character says something that her character doesn't like, and so she gets up and not only goes to sit away from me, but we had two sleeping bags next to each other. So what she does is she takes her sleeping bag and moves it all the way to the other side of the stage, and then it's just like sits there, and then gets in it and turns away from me. And all that is, none of that's being said, and I'm just kind of watching her doing it, just like, what did I do wrong? And I'm just like, you know what? I don't feel like arguing, so I just kind of turn away, and I'm like, forget it. But we do all that silent. So it's just like, that tells the story of, clearly I just said something. I just fucked up. I don't know what I did, but I'm over it. I'm tired. We both had a long day. Like, forget it, you know? And so, yeah, I really like that, because it just adds to the story. You know what I mean?
How long does that take to kind of get that down? You said stage, so was this a live performance,
Yeah.
or was this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long to rehearsal, and how much construction, or how much criticism do you have to take from the director, I would surmise? Is that who runs a stage play?
Oh, so
So how much
basically,
do you have to do to? How many times do you have to do that until they're like, that was the way to do it? Keep doing it that way.
excellent question, man. We did that on our own. You know, we came up with that. Like
No
my
way.
yeah, like my teacher, he's like we it's a scene study class, so he basically we bring the scene and then he gives us notes and critiques after the scene is done. And so we can come up with stuff and we do it. We
Oh,
set it up ourselves. And
so that's
so
why you were saying it's a study. Okay, I
yeah.
may have missed that. I'm sorry.
No worries. That was a good question. So yeah, and it's like it's certain things like if my teacher would have, you know, if he would have think that oh we should have went this way or we could have done this as well, then in the critique after it, then he would tell us like yeah, like you could try it this way next time or try it that way, you know, just give us notes. Um, in some cases, like I like that my teacher does it. He'll like jump up and be like, "Can I interrupt for a second? I want to give you guys a note that's gonna take this in another like like it's gonna make it like hotter. It's gonna make it more interesting."
Yeah.
And so yeah, it just depends. You gotta be just ready to you know what's to see what's gonna happen because it's very light, like it's a lot of life that our scenes are based on, like very human behavioral type
Yeah.
of you know
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, I don't know, hopefully that makes sense,
That makes sense.
It
Yeah.
but
does.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do. Yeah.
It's a well thought out answer.
Oh,
That's
thanks,
crazy.
man.
Crazy. Absolutely mind blowing.
I remember you like in
Yeah.
the beginning, you were like talking about like some of like the, you kind of like brush upon like kind of like the controversy or things that you've had to deal with when it came to like acting and voice acting earlier. The stuff that we had talked about before the podcast and things like that. Like with the whole, I think it was like the whole AI thing for one.
Mm.
Like I was kind of curious about that as well. Like what
Yeah.
was it that like brought upon that whole thing? Because I remember you were telling me like you had there were a lot of things that had to deal with like race and things like that when it came to voice acting and things like that as well.
That did happen. That definitely did happen as well. Like yeah, it was just there was I want to say it was probably a year ago now. There was the unions were striking. So there's SAG-AFTRA, the big actors union, and then SAG-AFTRA also has like a voice, like just for voice artists, like they have that union too. And there's a bunch of different unions, and all of these unions are, you know, they make deals with these big production companies like a Disney or an Amazon, you know, like all of them. And it was very much based on because technology was progressing with AI. It was very much just like, okay, are our jobs protected? Pretty much was like the
Right.
basis of everything. Like, are we good, or are you going to start depending on AI more? And so there was a couple things that the big production companies didn't want to agree to, which is why the strike went so long, because it was like I think it was like 6 months or so. Like it was a long time.
Yeah, it was.
And if there's an actor strike, crew members, cinematographers, directors, like no one's working because the actor struck, you know. And then it was a similar thing with voice acting, because it was similar, just like are our voices protected? Or are you going to depend more on AI because of how advanced that and how fast it just started to kind of take over?
Yeah.
And a lot of these companies, like, unfortunately, I heard some pretty unfortunate stories from other actors. Like one actor in particular, he shared his story with this actor group I'm in, and he was like, "Yeah, I was doing some extra work, maybe like a year and a half ago or something, and he signed this contract, and it was like a super long contract, and he didn't know what he was signing, and they were just like, yeah, just here you go, here's the contract, normal contract, sign it." So he signed it. And then he said, yeah, after my basically after all my scenes were done, they had me stand in a room and they took all these different pictures and stuff of him, like different angles and everything. And once it kind of started, the strike stuff started to come out, he was just like, I think I signed my likeness over without knowing. And so that was the biggest thing. Yeah, it's wild, and that's
Oh
why the
man.
strike was such a huge thing because people they were trying to secretly, like some of these big production companies were trying to secretly work in to their contracts to be like, yeah, you just did this work for us, but if you sign, you're also signing over rights to your likeness, rights to your voice, so that we can produce it and use it later, basically till well after you're dead. And so that was the biggest thing about the strikes, because they were like, look, if you're gonna use, or if I'm gonna sign this contract, you are going to pay me residuals. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of the biggest, that was the biggest fighting point between both strikes. And thankfully they were able to come to an agreement. But I think the both agreements were 2 years, 2 to 3 years max. And so in another 2 to 3 years, we're gonna be right back here in the same situation
Oh
if
man.
the production companies don't agree faster, because they were trying to hold out for a while because they didn't want to pay. Like they're just, they have an insane amount of money, but they don't, that's what's on their mind. They don't want to be able to give any of that up. They want to keep it coming in. So they just didn't want to offer paying people for that. And so hopefully when contract negotiations come back up, they're going to be more receptive and open to the fact that we obviously we're creatives, so this is what we do. You know what I mean? We don't want to sign over our likeness. We want to keep doing it, while we're here. And if you really want my likeness that bad, just pay me for it.
Right.
Just pay me.
Exactly.
So
Do you
it's
find where my head is? I don't mean to
mm,
interrupt.
well, you're good.
Were you finished
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
what you
I'm
were
good.
saying? Because I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt. Sorry. Do you find that there's a lot of hope in it, that people are at least pushing back? Because your story is telling me that people are, like, creatives like us aren't about it. We don't want AI taking what we have to offer.
Definitely not.
And
Yeah.
do you find that there's a substantial amount, enough pushback, or do you feel after the strike, do you still feel like you're concerned that there's not enough pushback?
Oh man, there was so much pushback.
Oh,
Like
good, good,
I it
good.
was it was actually I'm starting to get goosebumps thinking about it. It was actually really like so I was so happy to see it, because every outside of every single studio where like there were like the picketers, but there were tons from every aspect of like there were cinematographers there. There were, you may have seen like videos of like big name actors there on the picket lines, like giving people food. Like there was crew members, there were voice artists, there were actors, every producers, everybody came together to be like, yo, you like y'all companies are not understanding. If y'all don't agree with what we're saying, this is a complete shutdown. Y'all are not going to make any money.
Oh,
Like
didn't
if you don't.
was the writer's strike part of that too?
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Because
That
it
was
was the
around the same
writers.
time, wasn't it?
Yep. The writers struck first.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I respected
Yeah.
that so much. I was like,
I
yeah,
did too.
let's do it.
Honestly.
Because so many
Yeah.
big shows thought that they could just, oh, we don't need writers. Screw them. But they
Yeah.
learned real quick that
Real
they
quick.
needed writers.
Same thing with like the
Yep.
animators and stuff too, because they went on strike as well, didn't they?
Yep, animators
Yep.
went on strike too. So it was
Yep.
just like one after another. All these unions were like, "Yo, you like what y'all doing is fucked up. Like you just have to,
Yeah.
and we're not going to just be cool with it." And some of the bigger production companies were like, "Well, let's just make them wait." And then everybody who was picketing was like, "Okay." Like my teacher said the funniest thing in class, because he was like, I know things are interesting right now with all these strikes happening. He was like, but what's funny to me is that these big production companies are like, yeah, let's wait them out. And then he was like, you're going to tell a bunch of starving artists to wait? It was like, we've been
Yeah.
doing this shit for years. Like, you going to be waiting. And
Yeah.
I lost it. I was like,
Yeah.
well, you're not wrong. I was
Yeah.
cracking up, man. It was so funny.
So clean. So clean.
So it was dope, man. Like so much support. Like the writers, when their deal went through, they still hit the picket lines for the actors. And then when the actors went through, they hit the picket line still for the voice actor. You know, like everybody stuck together. And I really loved that. I thought that was pretty cool. All the creatives
Yeah.
sticking up for each other, you know? Yeah,
What's
it was
weird to
dope.
me is some creatives I know are about AI. They're about using AI
True.
for finding voice replacements for singers and stuff. And I'm just like, no, don't. Please don't. You know, I like now. I'm not completely free from it too. Like you can criticize me. I use a program called Ozone, and it's for like mastering your songs and getting it to a commercial. I have it analyze a song and master it, but then I make custom touches afterwards. So I use AI to get me to a starting point in like
Yeah.
a few seconds, and then customize it myself. And then same thing with like adding captions to my videos. I use AI for that because I'm not going to sit there editing a video for an hour and then putting 2 hours into just editing captions.
Yeah.
So I find that some use cases are acceptable,
Yeah.
but I'm about 90% anti AI, I would say.
Same, especially when it comes to like the music, like you said, like the musical creativity, it takes away from it for sure. Like, and like even with like the DAWs and stuff that we use, like FL Studio, for example, got like a lot of new updates that are AI related. Like you can use like auto mastering or like the auto like chord progression like maker and stuff like that. Like I don't use that stuff at all because I feel like for me personally, it's just better to be able to learn that stuff for yourself, and then once you do learn it, it'll be a lot easier for you to use it outside of just like your audio
yeah.
workstation and things like that, rather than just relying on a machine just to like make the chords for you. And 9 times out of 10, it's probably just gonna make like some generic chords that really sound like a lot of like really basic songs out there. But it's just like that's where it takes away from the creativity and takes away from your uniqueness as a creative, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're just gonna rely on that, then why be an artist in the first place if you're gonna put your own likeness out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Like out here, they refer to it as even when I see like certain voiceover auditions, they'll send voiceover auditions, and they'll be like use for this specific audition, use of ethical AI, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like because with the way that they work the contract, I'm like, cool, that makes sense. Like I get it.
What is
So
ethical AI?
it's basically just like what you said, like technological AI, like
You're not
stuff that's gonna
stealing.
help. Yes,
So
you're
you
not
would consider
stealing.
what how I use my 2 instances. You would consider that ethical.
Absolutely, 100%. I
Also, no
mean,
shame then. Okay.
none at all. You know what I mean? It's like because it's the biggest thing for me is like, is this AI taken away from artists or taken away from actors or voice act, whatever it is, musicians, whatever it is. Like it's just like, is it taking it away, or like I don't know if that makes sense,
Well, it makes
but yeah,
1,000% sense.
yeah,
You're
because I
taking away
mean,
so much opportunity for so many creatives,
exactly,
and
like
and it happened pretty much overnight. It seemed
yeah,
there's like Suno AI, which makes AI music. Yeah, it also butt rock, but it's like it sounds like me.
hmm
My concern is coming to a struggle with myself in hearing a song and really and understanding that they're finding out that it's AI. That's going to be a tough part for me because I feel like it's
that's
inevitable.
Yes.
yeah, that's the part where I'm like, for me, I'm just like, with that, there's a line, you know what I mean, and that it's like it probably will get to the point where it's like you'll see certain things and you're just like, I can't tell if that's AI or not, and so it's an interesting topic, but I'm glad that they were able to come to an agreement, at least for now. Hopefully that will lead to some positive changes for the next negotiations, but we'll see.
Yeah, I
But
was just going to say, yeah.
yeah, but but yeah, man, it's I think there is, you know, a way to ethically use it, and it can of course be helpful with technology and helping people out, and you know, and everything. And some people may need it for their for their livelihood, like to live, you know,
True.
like their yeah. So it's like there's some positives about it, like, but you know, at the same time, you don't want it to take to be like, oh, I'm watching a movie with literally just AI acting. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
yeah, like I like that's where I'm like, I can't get with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Or
I
just like a
agree.
completely AI generated song or something like that. It's like,
yeah, or like
I don't
AI
think so.
band or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
like, no, man. Like I need to watch and hear my artists sing and make them instruments sing. You know, that's what I like to see.
I did
So.
hear about a case of a guy. This wasn't recent. He got caught recently though, but he's been doing it evidently for years. He
Mhm.
used AI to make a bunch of music, put it on Spotify, and used AI to make bots to follow him, and they would give him plays. And
Wow.
he was making a ton of money. It's huge popular artist in that specific niche. I don't know what it was. It was just some guy, but he was using AI to put stuff on Spotify, using AI to make bots and listen to music and making bank off of it. He got caught and got in big trouble because it's against Spotify's terms of service to bot your stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
wild, man.
Doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me.
Wow. I
Bizarre
never
world.
heard that.
Yep. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's why I
Yeah.
was just like, it takes away from those things. Like, it takes away just from the learning experience in general. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I don't prefer to use it, just because it's just an easy gateway. It's just an easy path, just trying to get to where you need to be. But it takes away from you trying to learn about how to market, how to promote yourself, how to make connections, make friends along the way, and just learning different things about in your perspective field. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's everything you see regarding acting or music, celebrities, stuff like that. It seems so wonderful, glamorous, and somewhat easy to obtain. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I write music. I could be just like that. But there's so much more behind the scenes that happens that you have no idea. That's what I was going into earlier. It's like it's about going through the long term of it instead of the overnight success, because you really have to have some thick skin, and it only happens through developing yourself through it instead of skipping to the top of it. And me as a musician, it's I'm finding now where I'm at this point in my career, it's where I am currently, it's only about 10% music. The rest of it's like marketing, connecting with people, and really creating more different types of content just to push my music out there. I can't wait to the point where I'm actually sitting down playing my guitar and working on something again. It feels so backwards. It feels so backwards. But it is just is what it is, I guess. You know.
And you feel so much more accomplished once you actually do all that stuff yourself, you know.
Oh, a
You're
thousand
willing to
percent.
look back and just like, oh yeah, I did all this. I was able to take the time to learn how to do all of this stuff, and I actually made it because of that. You can actually congratulate yourself instead of just
Yep.
using some crazy tool just to get you all the way yourself up there. And it's just like, did I really do anything?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I did just pay Spotify $100 to because I unlocked some advertising or campaign privileges for my latest songs,
Nice.
and yeah, I owe it to everybody's listen. Thank you for helping me reach the play threshold, and thanks for listening and your continued listens. But I am hoping that kind of it seems like Spotify is actually getting listeners because you're paying their platform for them to push it out to their listeners and the people paying for the platform. And it's very strictly advised to not pay for other services to do that. And evidently, Spotify has this platform to help you grow as an artist too. So I've kind of heard mixed things on it. I don't know if it works, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Mm.
You know?
I
That's
hope it goes
exciting as
well,
hell, man. That's
man.
exciting.
Yeah, that's
It's very
dope.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Congrats, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the support's been amazing. I still just can't thank people enough. But what questions do you have for us, Nick?
I'm
What
sure you
things?
got plenty too.
Dig deep, dig deep, get controversial.
Rattle some feathers. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. This is dope. I was hoping. I was looking forward to this aspect. Yeah. Um so what are y'all's, and of course, feel free to, answer in whichever order y'all prefer, but what are y'all's ultimate goals, dreams, aspiration with music, creativity, streaming, perhaps? Like, I'm curious what y'all's like. Is there an end goal? Maybe there isn't, but I'm curious to hear what that is, because I can speak for myself, and I enjoy watching both of you guys, because it's like the music. It's like two completely different styles of music, but they're both really really cool, and I always love watching the aspect from just seeing y'all jam, or from seeing y'all like literally like layer music and just go from start to finish, and then to see how a song started to how it ended.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that whole process is really dope. So I'm curious what the aspirations are for y'all.
I can definitely say that. As far as like a complete end goal, I don't think I have one, but I know the heights that I do want to reach for sure. Because the more that I develop myself as a musician, especially like a jazz musician and things like that, one thing I want to be able to accomplish with that is being able to get the opportunity to travel. Which, of course, I know it's like a niche thing to say, like, yeah, you want to travel, just like I said earlier.
It's just a quirky thing about you. That's it.
Yeah, I
Just
want
a
to travel,
quirky
you
thing.
know, like. But honestly, yeah, like I do want to travel and like see the whole world, you know, like because I've always thought of the idea as like, yeah, like the world is such a beautiful place, and it would be such a waste just to spend it all in just like in one area your whole life when there's so much more out there to experience and just see for yourself, you know. It really just opens up your mind, and really you get new perspectives out of just like not even just seeing the world just like culturally, but just like musically in a way, because you got so many different like countries and different cities out there in the world. They do music a lot differently than we do, and I want to be able to experience all of those and just be able to get new perspectives, and I feel like it'll teach me a lot musically, you know. And I guess with that I want to be able to teach myself so much and be able to have as much of a broad understanding and knowledge of just music in general as I can, to be able to in a way be the best musician that I can be, you know. And with that I know that it would take a lot of like time and practice and things like that, and just plenty of job opportunities out there that I want to be able to strive for, that'll give me those opportunities. Like one that I can definitely say, like people have heard me like go on about plenty of times, is like one day I want to be able to get a job as like a cruise ship musician maybe, because I've even had friends that have done jobs like that before, and they've told me like all the experiences they had and how much fun it was, like being especially just being a musician on a cruise ship. Like essentially you're going to be on a cruise ship for about like what, like 6 months at a time or things like that, but during the whole time they're like your only job is to perform. So like you'll have like a rehearsal throughout the day, you'll perform like 6 days out of the week, but like the rest of the day like you're just exploring, just hanging out, you know. And like whenever the ship stops on a port, you can get off the port and go explore that city, and it's just like, why wouldn't I want something like that, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. For me, my aspirations are I'd like to to achieve financial freedom off music, something that I absolutely love to do, and just be able to make a very comfortable living for myself off of doing what I love to do. But like I guess surface level goals maybe would be I really want to play on a stage in front of thousands of people who know my music, who love my music, and who are there to see me and see me perform and sing along to the songs that I do, instead of being a cover band. You know what I mean? And no shame to cover bands, but I don't want to be a cover band.
Yeah.
And cover artist. But
True. Yeah.
and I look at names like Bono, Skrillex, like huge names like that. They're so well known in the music industry, and they're very respected names in the music industry because of what they do and the things through which they have persisted. So that's another thing for me. I want a well respected name in the music industry, where when people are like, "Oh, Eyes, hell yeah, that's the homie, that's the producer right there." Like he knows
when
his
they're
shit.
bringing you up on stage and be like, "Please welcome Eyes,
Hey.
the artist," and you're just like, "Yes." Like,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd be like the song "Blank Page." How the hoodie that I'm wearing says, "I think my husband's shit." That line, I'd love to hear just the whole crowd, thousands of people, just scream that line. I think
be
my
dope.
husband's full of shit. It's just, and I believe it. I see it, and I know that it takes time. And then more recently, somebody asked me where I want to be in 10 years, and I've always hated the question because it's like it is
I
a very
hate that
challenging.
question, man.
It's a
I
very
always hate
challenging
that
question, but I actually am starting to like it because it puts pressure on me to actually take some responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking over the last 10 years, what is it, 2024? Yeah, 10 years. It was about a year prior to my first album that I released. And then I moved to California. Then I moved out of California. I've done a lot in 10 years. And I think that those goals are very, very possible within a 10-year timeline. And I'm, as far as I understand, it's just stay on my trajectory going. And, I'm going to keep going. It's exciting.
Just keep going
Super
and keep
exciting.
learning.
Yeah.
And that
Hell
can
yeah.
definitely say, like, Eyes, like what you said, like you just want to make a comfortable living. That's something I can definitely agree upon. Because me personally, I don't care to be rich or I don't care to be like
that's the
super
thing.
famous or anything like
I
that.
don't-
I just want to be able to
that's-
live my best life, just be comfortable.
I say that I want to be a well-known name in the music industry, but at the same time, I think if you can be rich and well off without being famous, that's one of the best ways you can balance things. And I want that at the same time because I'm a private person. I feel like I'm asking for a lot of contradictory things there, but one of the big things for me is to be able to play on stage in front of thousands of people and just think about my mom and how she's pretty much always seen that for me, and how I want to be able to be a motivator and an inspiration for my brothers and stuff like that, and for so many people who have lived an ordinary life and have big dreams, but are too caught up in that plan B to actually get their plan A on track. So, yeah, it's a huge. It's not only for me; it's for hopefully other people too, so they can be like, we knew it and we can do it too. That type of thing.
I like that. That resonates. 1,000%.
It's bigger than me, is what I'm trying to say. It's a lot bigger than me.
Right.
So
I see. I was curious. Because I was curious about this question too. The one that Harmfree asked in the chat. He said, "Would you ever do a musical, and would you ever make music for a musical?"
That's such a dope question. I love it. I would 1,000% do a musical. Like, I've done, I think I've done maybe like 10, probably like 10 musicals, like, in my acting career. And I had a blast on each and every one of them. Like, it was a lot of fun. And I would easily say yes to that. Like, no contest. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun to do.
I didn't. I was in one play in high school. It wasn't, but I was too. I didn't want to do musical at the time for some reason. And I've been in a stage play, and then back in 2018 I did a music video that somebody wanted to shoot for me, and it was super professional, and it's on YouTube. But it was take after take, You know, we had the whole crew there. We had a continuity crew. We had a lighting crew. We had everything, and it was just so much. I had no clue. I was like, he's like, that take was perfect. That was the one. Let's do it again. And I was like,
Yep.
what?
Like, do it again. Like, what do you mean? You just said it was perfect.
Yeah, they want that. They want that one for safety. They want you to do it again.
No, they want that 7 for safety.
Yep.
Right, like a whole bunch
You
more
never
takes
know,
after
man.
that.
You never know. But it turned out incredible. It's a great music video. So,
Nice.
yeah. But what
I've
about
never
you?
done-
What about your aspirations? Sorry, Prom.
Oh no, I was just
Go
gonna say,
ahead.
like, I've never.
One of
done,
you guys
like,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I've never done any like stage plays or anything like that, but I've had chances where I played in like pit bands for like plays and things like that, and those can actually be a lot of fun. But one thing I didn't like about those was how strict they can be about them too. It's like it ties back into the whole like classical music thing. Like they want you to play like exactly how they want you to play, like on the page and things like that. And it's like you can't like mess around with this. You can't like doodle around with this, and otherwise it's not gonna sound right, you know. And it's just like, yeah, this is fun, but it's just like I feel so limited. I feel restricted, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's yeah. They kind of lock you into what they want you to do, as opposed to being like, well, can I just do like a little something here or something?
Right.
Just,
Can I
you
like
know,
add a little sprinkle onto this? And like,
Yeah,
nope,
yeah.
nope.
Not on my watch. Yeah, for
No
real.
sprinkles here. Get out of here.
A little seasoning, you know.
You think we opened up chat for questions, right? Prominent.
I think so. Yeah.
While we chat with Nick.
Yeah, if you
chat,
guys
feel
in
free
the
to-
chat have
for that,
any
yeah.
questions you would like to ask any of us or Nick Howard, you know, feel free to.
Good question, Harm. Good question.
Could you turn on a light, Prominent?
I could. I would have to adjust my camera, but I would have to like minimize the screen and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. You don't have a ring light or
I
anything? Okay. Ain't nothing but a thing. Never mind then. You're good.
Yeah, that's why I went on and like turned on these lights right here, but I gotta like change the camera settings, and I can't do that without like changing
Yeah.
the scene and stuff like that.
Yeah. that
Fair.
was-
OBS
Fair.
restrictions, you know, it's so dumb.
But
Yeah.
your dreams and aspirations.
Yeah, Nick.
What do
Mine?
you have?
Oh,
Yeah. This
okay,
question,
okay.
any question that you ask us applies to yourself as well.
I know you.
No,
Reverse, if you
card.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, my it's kind of. I guess we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but my goals
thought
and
we did.
aspirations, but they've changed. You know, like they have changed. And honestly, I'll be real with y'all. Like I'm just now. This is probably the first time I'm actually saying it out loud, because I just kind of more so been thinking it to myself. But yeah, I mean, I know I would love. I think one of my biggest ones that I've always wanted to do is just be like the protagonist in like a sci-fi show or sci-fi series or something like that. Like, because that plays to like me as a nerd, and then it plays to just like me as an actor too. Because I would, there's just so like the imagination is very huge, just whatever you can think of when it comes to sci-fi, you know what I mean? And I really like that aspect of sci-fi. But like I also love like action and drama. Like drama is my shit. I love like dramatic roles, and I would just love to be able to play those kinds of roles, you know what I mean? And just because they speak to me, you know, it would be a lot of fun to just touch, I guess, just show those different sides of me, you know what I mean, and really just have fun playing those roles, and yeah, like you said, I just kind of be comfortable living, you know what I mean, make make a comfortable living and just be happy doing what I love doing. You know what I mean? And because I'm the same, I'm like I'm also very contradictory because I enjoy my private time. So I don't need to
It's tough.
be. Yeah,
really
it
is,
is
though,
tough,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
It's tough. Because you want to be a well-known, respected name in your community, but you're like nobody knows anything about me. This is
yeah.
so
Exactly.
weird.
Yeah.
Such a weird thing.
Yeah, it's like, just don't know where I live and we cool. Like
Right.
yeah,
Just leave me alone. Mind your business. We'll be all right. All right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where are
Yeah.
you? Where are you from originally? Are you comfortable saying that?
Yeah. I'm from Illinois, Rockford, Illinois,
Okay.
up
Okay.
north. Yeah,
Right.
So I'm Midwestern boy for sure, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I'm
So,
from Illinois to Ohio.
oh yeah,
So
Yeah, and
yeah,
I was actually
yeah.
born in the
Same
Midwest, so I
city.
feel
oh
it.
yeah,
Same city.
Illinois, Ohio. I'm from there.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I was born in between like the Illinois, Iowa area. If that makes sense. Like, I don't know if you heard of the Quad Cities at all.
Oh, I know the Quad Cities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I was born. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. That's
Yeah, I
cool.
moved to Atlanta when I was around like 8 years old, and I grew up there. So.
Okay, that makes sense. I definitely see some Southern in you for sure. I can see that. Yeah.
Hell
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, man.
Torrance is my worst fear is being famous. True. So fucking damn cool. That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
He is the shark god for a reason, so that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah. That adds up.
What other questions did you have loaded for us? Was that one of the only ones that you could think, or do you have other ones? Let's get them.
I have like two more for sure, and then
All
a
right.
couple more that I'm like, but one of them is I'm curious if y'all might not even have favorites, but like what are if you had to pick like one or two songs that y'all have made as like favorites, or if not even favorites, is just to showcase y'all as artists, what would they be?
Two songs, huh?
Yep.
My favorites shift a lot. Like favorites, they shift a lot because as an artist you're always trying to constantly improve. But if we have to pick two, number one's Blank Page. I think Blank Page is one of the best songs I've ever written, thankfully.
Nice.
But I'm gonna top it eventually. Don't worry, I'll get it.
Hell yeah.
And then, man, I'm trying to think between of all my unreleased stuff versus release. There's one coming out in a few months, I think. And then Prominent and I are actually finished, but that one's going to be really good. But if we're talking released, I think Cola Coca might be a second. It's so different from what I've usually done, and it's way heavier than what I usually do. But I don't know. I'm happy seeing how it's performing right now, and it is a different style. I mean, it's just exciting. But Blank Page is a little bit of everything. There's a lot of melodic stuff. Time signature changes. It goes from 3/4. Then at the end, it goes into screaming and heavier breakdown. There's just almost everything in that one song, and it's one of my favorite bops that I've gotten. Sure.
For me, I can definitely say one of my favorites in terms of released ones is Dr. PC. Because that song was, it was funny enough. We made that song just off
organic
of one night. Literally.
It's so organic. It's crazy.
We just made that off of like it's just a jam night that we were having, just like a little like community cook up or whatever. And I remember I was just like making the foundation of it, and I was like, okay, this is sounding pretty decent. Okay. And then Eyes was like, I want to add something on there. I think you might like it. And then when he sent it in, like, and he started like singing on it and everything, like my mind was just like blown away. I was just like, this is a hit right here. I gotta release it now. Like,
Yeah.
it's like him and then Figure adding his lyrics on there too. I was just like, bro, like what is this song? Like, oh my gosh. Like,
That's
so I could
dope.
definitely say that's like one of my favorites so far. In terms of like unreleased ones, there's a bunch of them that I really do like that I haven't released one, but there is one definitely that I do want to release soon that is one of my favorites so far, and it's been an old song was made like years and years ago, I would say like almost almost 10 years ago, I would say. Me and a couple of friends had like written it like a long time ago. We were like in a little combo band that we had.
Mm.
And it was something that we had written a while back, and then it just kind of just got forgotten about. And then I told myself, I was like, I kind of want to bring this back because this was actually a good song. But then I was like, I was trying to like remember all the aspects of like how we made that song.
Mm.
So I figured, you know what? I can just take the foundation of that, make it into something new, and then go on about that, you know? And so once that gets done and that gets released, I can't wait for it. It's going to be such a good song, too.
When's that coming out? Is that your next one?
Yes. It'll be my next single coming out. I'm not going to, like,
Hey.
make it, like, big announcements or anything yet. But once it gets there, it's going to be
I don't make announcements until I've solidified the date in DistroKid.
Exactly.
I used to be like, hey, here's the song coming this month. It's not even done mixed. I'm like, no. I learned the hard way multiple times to wait until it's done and there's a date.
And then one more, I want to add like an honorable mention is one that this song that another like unreleased song that I've made is one that came from a memory that I had back in like freshman year of high school. And this song, like, I made it dedicated to that because it was like a little like jazz lick that like stuck to my head since then to this day. And funny enough, it was something that I heard like on like Microsoft PowerPoint back in like 2009 when we had to do like a little like PowerPoint project for like this computer science class because I had just like moved to that school and I couldn't join the band yet because it was like in the middle of the semester. So I just like, let me just take this computer science class or whatever. It's an easy A. And I remember like looking through like the clip arts and things like that. I don't know if you guys remember clip art. That was like a thing way back then.
Yeah.
And like I remember like they had like a bunch of like music clips to like choose from. And I remember like one, it was like this old like jazz like tune or something like that. It was only like a couple of seconds long, but like even to this day like stuck with me. And then I ended up to this day like making a whole song just based off like that little snippet. And like after I release this song, that's gonna be like the next one, just because I was just like, it brings back a lot of memories. Not even just with that song, but just like it's kind of like a throwback for me in a way. Just like that was kind of like the start of me becoming the musician I am today in a way.
Yeah.
That kind of what motivated me to start like producing and just making my own music, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah. You kind of reminded me of another one that I have too. You said high school, and it's kind of about like the growth of high school and like how you're starting to come into your own at a very young age. And I have one about that that's unreleased as well. I forgot, that one's a pretty good one. There's a bit of rapping in it and everything. It's kind of cool. It's like Will Swan rapping. I'm not trying to be like Lil Pump or Kendrick Lamar, like not like that. Like I know my place.
Like, I knew Nick was thinking of it too.
Yeah, I know my place.
I'm
not gonna. You're like, oh, sick. Oh, I was just rapping. Oh, wow, he just said a slur. Yeah, let's not go there, dude. Wait until you guys hear this song. It's so good.
Like I's gonna be rapping in
bars,
this.
Bars. Let's go.
I spitting bars. Oh, canceled. Great.
Here's some Tribantia, you know? Like,
No.
That's funny.
What about you, Nick? Your favorite songs that you have, your favorite songs that you've written, because you write songs all. You're a musician, aren't you? I know you.
You know.
I know.
Retired musician.
I know you have. I know you've been on some tracks.
Yeah. Music was actually my first love, and it still is.
Yeah.
But
You actually do write a lot.
I don't write as much as I used to, but occasionally I'll bring the book out. But there's a lot of stuff that me and an old friend we used to put a lot of music out back in the day, and there was. I still have them, so maybe I can just release them for the hell of it. But man, oh man, I'm trying to think because There's a couple. I would say I would say there's three. Like I can think of three. Um, yeah. Okay, so the first one is actually funny because I used to like rap like seriously. Like I used to like do like, singing was always my thing, but then there would be times I would like rap.
Uh huh.
And one of them, it was just like a song that we had did where like we both just rapped the whole time, and it was actually really good. I
Was
was
it?
like, "Yo, this verse is actually really like." I was so proud of that verse, and then when we released it, like everybody was like vibing with it. I was like, "Yo, this is so cool!" Like, I'm definitely not a. I'm not. I don't consider myself a rapper, But it was. I was super proud of that, for sure, for sure. I had to drop that. But the song was called it was called Business, and it was just a straight up like sex song, like
Business.
like raunchy sex song.
Business.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of one of the bars that I said. It was Let me see. It was It was actually very funny. All right, okay, okay. It was I'm gonna make her body lock like a 2-3 zone. Call me MJ because I'm the MVP. And I was like, yo, I
Ooh.
was like, that wasn't half bad. I was like, what? 2-3 zone, basketball defense,
Ooh,
2-3 MJ,
clean.
Right?
MVP. I was like, okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was proud of that bar. I was proud of that one. That was a cool
Hell yeah.
bar. Yeah,
You ought
that
to
was a
be.
cool one.
Funny,
But
I
that
asked
was
the
another
question
one.
as kind of out of a joke, but like you actually have some legit songs that are your favorite.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then I apologize. I didn't mean to patronize. Yeah.
Oh, dude, please, man. No worries, man. It's stuff that, I loved making music. I think my whole thing was just like I always felt like if I were to get back into music again, it would be like that I'd have to start over and like I have to, buy all these equipments and things and I'd feel like I'm starting over. But every so often I'll do like features for the homies and it's fun.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
always
going
like,
to be one of
man, I
my
love that.
questions. That was going to be one of
Yeah.
my questions. If would you ever consider a feature?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a
look at I
thousand
trying to get
percent.
Nick on the track. Look at you.
Yeah.
Always, yeah,
Hell yes.
always. I never say no to music features, man. Like that, yeah, and yeah, for sure. I had one. Well, we never actually got a chance to do it, but the homie Nodachi, he had asked me. He's like, "Yeah, we should do like a track together," and I'm like, "Man, I'm down," but we just never got a chance to do it yet. But yeah, I'm always down to do features, man. I love music.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'll reach out to you at some point.
Yeah,
Oh,
same
thanks, man.
honestly.
Hey,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be honored, especially with y'all, cause y'all
Okay.
y'all put out some dope shit, like for
Thanks,
real. Like
man.
I love
Appreciate that,
listening to
bro.
y'all's music, man. I always got
I'm
it in rotation. That's
I'm
why I was so
getting.
happy that y'all let me put it on the stream, cause I was like, oh man, I'm trying to push
Oh,
them out,
dude,
cause
it's
more
so
people
nice
need
that
to
you
hear it.
do. It means the world that you put it on there. Thank you 1,000 times over.
Oh, man, please, thank you. I was happy to, man, for real.
But I interrupted. I'm sorry. Your two other favorite songs.
Oh, most def. I got you.
Sorry.
No, no worries, man. Um, One of my other ones, of course, was one of the ones that got released. It was back in 2016. It's "Love Me Better." That
Oh
was a
hell
cool
yeah,
Oh,
song.
Harvey
hell
mentioned that in
Yeah,
the
yeah! I'm
chat
pretty
too.
sure you showed me that one. I'm pretty sure you
did he?
showed me that one.
Yeah, did he?
I
Yeah.
heard your
Yeah.
vocals. I was like, oh frick, this is good. My
Hey,
man's can
thanks,
sing.
man. That was a cool one. Yeah, him and I, my homie Justin, we had actually made about 7 songs together, and then that was the first we were making an EP. But I think his what was it? His hard drive crashed with all of our like stuff on it.
Oh
Besides that
man.
one, I was like,
Sheesh.
Oh.
Sheesh.
so it was one of those. But it was still cool. Like it was cool. That one came out of nowhere. We wanted to do like a song in acting class, and then we had this song that we were practicing, and we both were like, "Fuck it, let's just write one." And he was like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it." He was like, "All right, let's do it." And so we wrote that and performed it in class. And my teacher was like, "Record it." He was like, "Record it, just
Record it right
record it,
now.
put it out there." That's like all he said. And so I was happy with how that ended up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
man.
clean.
Yeah, that
You
one
actually
was
just
cool.
reminded me of a song that I like wrote for like a science project in like an astronomy class that I took my senior year of high school. We were like assigned like different planets and things like that. And I think I
Yeah.
got the planet Neptune. And what I did,
Hey.
I just ended up like taking like an old like instrumental from like I think it was like an instrumental from a rap song from like this YouTube channel. It was called Epic Rap Battles of History or something like that.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember those. Yeah, yeah.
I took the instrumental from one of those tracks and like made a song out of it, and I just called it Neptune or something like that. And I was literally just like rapping on it and stuff like that. And I got like my little brother to like feature on it as well. And it was like just talking about like different facts of Neptune, but at the time it was just like comical and satirical. My teacher was talking about how
Hey.
much he liked it. He was like, "You need to do more of this stuff." And I was like, "Really?" I just did it as a joke, but I was like, "Okay."
Let's go. See, that's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah, that's dope, man. I love it, man. It's
Bring
so
it
it's so
down.
funny how like it's like a lot of these songs that are made. They're just such core memories. You remember like
Right.
everything that went into it. You know,
Yeah.
that's dope. That's
I
sick.
remember
That's
one of the
super dope.
first songs I wrote. I wonder if it's still there on cassette. It's crazy. It's bizarre.
Dope.
So your third question. Everyone's on the edge of the seat, ready to know what your third question for us is.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. My third question for y'all: if you have, it's kind of similar to the other one, but a little bit different. Do you have like Twitch goals or stream goals, or do you want to, like what is it about streaming that like, I guess this is a two-part question. Like, what is it about streaming that drew you guys to it?
Oh, that's a good one actually. I can definitely say that what drove me to streaming was I saw it as like an opportunity for me to really just give myself make myself more productive in terms of like producing and things like that. Because yeah, before that I was like doing a little bit of producing here and there, but I felt like I was kind of like at a standstill in a way. And
Mm,
like the idea that I had when I was like, oh, I should probably consider streaming was that like just like kind of how I do now. It's just like I wanted to make it like a little show in a way, like in a way like in a jazz lounge, you know. And that's
mm,
why I called it the Jazz Lounge Journey because I kind of saw it as like my journey to greatness, and I see that as like when I say journey to greatness, I mean just like trying to be like the greatest musician that I can be, and I wanted to use that. It's like an outlet in a way, and with streaming and things like that, I can definitely say that I've been grateful for because it's helped me to really like crack down on like making my music and things like that, and like I really, in a way, I never really seen how like seen the potential of what I could do as a musician and as a producer
mm.
until I started streaming and other people started hearing my stuff and like Eyes is one of the first ones, for example, like when he started like coming in my streams more and more often, he was able to teach me a lot about producing at the start. You know, he like showed me how to do a lot of different stuff that I didn't even know I could do. Which at the same time, like all the stuff that you showed me, Eyes, was a lot of basic stuff that I didn't even know that I could do. Because I feel like back then I was just like a really like basic producer. I would like throw the songs in here and just like do this, but I would never really like know how to like properly mix a song or like how to like properly like put instruments together or like instrument
Mhm.
placement and other things like that, for example. And like having people like that just to like teach you those things, that's what motivated it just to keep me streaming a lot more and things like that. And when it comes to the end goal of it, I just say that I don't see streaming as like a main source of income for me in terms of that. But I don't want to see streaming as like something I just want to make money off in a way either because the fact that I'm able to make like a little bit of money here and there off of Twitch in general, like I'm extremely grateful for that and it's helped out a lot in like certain situations, but
Mhm.
I don't want to just see it as that either. I want to, like I do now, I want to see Twitch as like a chance for me just to grow as a musician and be able to help me learn as much as I can as a musician and as a producer, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm able to, if there's an opportunity that I would be able to have where I can use like Twitch as like one of like my sources of income, because I would definitely take it, because as you would know, like as a musician nowadays, like you have to have like, nowadays you have to have multiple sources of income to be able to get by and things like that, especially at the start, you know. And like you can't just have just one thing and be able to just skate off of that. Like when it comes to being a musician, it's just like, oh, nowadays you kind of have to become like an influencer in a way to be able to like promote yourself on social media and things like that, or you have to be able to network and be able to like maybe like stream on Twitch and things like that. And that was kind of the idea I had of it as well. But at the same time, like I genuinely enjoy streaming now. It's always a lot of fun just be able to get on here, talk to the chat, and just talk to my friends, and like they were able to just hang out while I sit here and just make music. And just being able to go online, it motivates me to like keep making music and just keep producing and just keep learning more and more about how to produce. And like I feel like it helps me just come a long way as a musician, you know.
Yeah. For me, Twitch goals, aspiration, and end goal, kind of what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Twitch has always been more stepping, you know, just to kind of connect with people, and really along the lines of what I said, to hold myself accountable to be productive in my day to day, rather than wasting so much of my time just watching YouTube and social media. It has put me in a much more disciplined mindset, and I wanted to stop at least a couple times now. But so the one good thing that it's taught me is persistence, and what good things can come out of that. Remaining disciplined and consistent, really. So I don't know if I'll be streaming forever, especially whenever like I hopefully hit those goals of starting to tour, starting to become a lot more well known in the music industry. You know, but I think it's a very good starting point. I feel like I've never had this much support for any of my music previously, and it's a good place to do that type of thing. But not only that, it's not. You just meet so many amazing people. Way, like it's not really as much promoting your stuff as it is just like telling your friends, like, hey, check putting out some new music and stuff like that, and then it's just a good platform to hang out with people. I met so many good people through here: Toxic, Harmfree, Chorn, you, Prominent. You know, any names I'm neglecting to say, it's not for that reason. It's just like there's too many names.
Like, I don't want to say that name.
Accidentally not saying is what I'm saying. There are just too many names to think of right now. You know,
Yeah.
just it's a pretty big impact on my life, really. But the goal with it, I thankfully have been seeing the streams grow. Will show up, and it makes me feel good, like I'm actually putting on a show. My content style has changed multiple times, and for me, it's a good way to utilize Twitch as a learning tool and for a way to shape how I present myself, my music, and really genuinely connect to people. We had a troll come in the other day, and Harmfree, Prominent, Jenna, and I were just trolling this guy. He's like, dude, where's the music? This is a music stream. I said, you good, bro? You all right? Let's talk about it.
I remember that.
It's like, hey, mods. It's like, hey, mods, keep your eye on this one, all right? Let's talk. You good, man? And then, like, Harmfree started clowning on him, and Jenna clowned on him. Toxic came in and clowned on him. He's like, Toxic was like, bro, it's a good place to connect to community, because it's like you don't always get to connect with musicians. If you want his music, here's the link to Spotify. And I'm like, thanks, dog. I appreciate. Like, I try to work on music whenever I can. Like, we all about the communities more. My time is with the community. That's how I see it. You guys, everybody, platform is more important than the show I'm putting on. You know what I mean? So I just hope it's entertaining, engaging. I have so many people to thank for helping make it engaging, and sticking around and continuing subs. You know what I mean? It's just, you go into it with a conceived notion of like, yeah, well, but like you don't really have the idea of like you'll meet some amazing people way that you'll likely call friends for a very, very long time. It's just, it's an awesome place. It's an awesome place to be. Goals, I don't really know. I'll just keep streaming and change content whenever it's necessary and whenever things start to feel stale. And then the goal is really just to keep growing the community and growing the Spotify for me and growing my music career. Really, that's where my goal is. And I think Twitch is an excellent tool, platform to utilize for that type of thing. You know what I mean? That's a bit of a mouthful of an answer.
Nah, that was perfect.
Okay.
That was spot on, bro. That was perfect.
Yo, Southpaw's in here too, my dog.
Yeah, I know. I
Good to
see what's going on, Southpaw.
The champ has arrived.
Yes, indeed. Good to see you, bro. Miss you, mate.
No,
How about you?
No one does wit like Southpaw. Nobody does
Real,
dry humor like Southpaw. He's
I
the
know.
man. Like, he's the
Every
best,
time I'm in his
man.
streams, it's always with the humor. I freaking love it every time.
Same, for real.
Yeah, I like it too. What about you? Is Twitch a mainstay for you or a big hustle for you? Or is it really, do you feel similarly to how two of us are framing it?
Man, it's pretty similar. It's, I mean, I love, you know, like same thing. I met so many dope people through streaming, like people that I never would have met my entire life. I never would have got the chance to meet, and I'm super
Like you
thankful
guys,
and
for
grateful.
example, like-
Exactly, literally y'all. You know what I mean? Like y'all and people like Harm, people like Southpaw, you know, like Pugs, and I can go forever with naming people, you know what I mean? But yeah, I look at it as a place to just like hang with the homies, you know what I mean? And my favorite thing about it is just there's so much talent on Twitch that I wish more people knew about, and it drives me nuts. So I'm just like, my thing is just like, I just want to push people out there and be like, please connect with this person, connect with this person, because you never know what these connections can bring, you know?
Let the true talent shine, and just like the typical stuff, like put that in the back, you know, give us a chance. Like,
But it also
Yeah,
connects too, like
yeah.
all the true talent on here. It's all about who you know.
Mhm.
And with Twitch, it's so easy to start connecting to the right.
it's so easy. Oh my god,
1000%. I agree with
But you
that.
can't force it either. You know,
True.
definitely not.
you can't
True.
just. It's got to happen naturally. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's got to happen naturally. It's got to be the right fit, you know what I mean? And yeah, I just met so many homies on there. So I do it mostly for fun, you know what I mean? And I've had a couple of my friends say that I should like take it more serious, but even then, if I did, my whole thing would just be about pushing the homies, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, I just want more people to know my friends, like, you know what I like.
Exactly.
That's literally it, you know, and play video games, and like that's it, you know. Like that's all I want to do, you know. But but I don't know, like it would be. I remember back in the day, I had kind of jokingly threw out like, oh, it would be cool to like start like or have somebody in the community start like a squad Twitch stream, just so that all of us have a Twitch like team, so that all of us have a place to like shine and be showcased, you know. So yeah, like I think that would be cool, even if it doesn't have to be me, but I just think it would be cool for that to happen for all of us, you know what I'm saying? Just to get our like art streams, creativity, acting stuff, music, whatever it is, just to get that out there more,
Are we starting
you know?
a hype house?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Influencers unite this summer 2025. Actually, you have a better advertiser voice for it.
Right.
In the
Man,
world.
you can definitely. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, if one of us or any of us like ever got to the point where we got the opportunity to be like a Twitch partner or something, one of us has like you know how like has like the teams under you, like your username or whatever. one of
Yeah.
us has
Yep.
to make like the anti-perfectionist like an official
Oh, we would
team.
for sure. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Oh, that would be slick. Yeah.
That was
Oh,
brought up.
yeah.
That was brought up almost like a year ago, and I was like, yeah, that if we make it, if one of us makes it happen, for sure.
Like it's definitely gonna happen.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. It will. It will.
You know, but and even in between all of the later things, like hopefully touring and stuff, I'd still like to jump in a live stream and just connect with people. Still, whenever I can, I have a feeling that in the future, just like I had a feeling I would have to stop making my own music on reasons of people possibly like plagiarizing it and stuff. So I kind of stopped doing that for the moment. But I have a feeling that it's going to get to a point where streams won't even really be on a schedule anymore. It's kind of be whenever where I have time and whenever they can happen. But
Yeah. That's
You know, I'm
kinda
not
how I
gonna-
seen it, too.
I'm not going to assume that's soon, far away, or what. I just don't know. You know,
Because you can be so focused on like booking shows and like playing performances here and there. And it's just like, oh, I'm only able to stream when I can now.
and one of the future ideas is to get enough content. Or I sounded like such a bitch there. Content influencer. One of the goals is to get enough the material as a musician to be able to put my own show, and that would be the stream, like maybe an hour of music of all my songs, just singing them or playing them, and then connect with Chad afterward.
That
Toxic's
would
kind
be
of
sick.
put a more solidified idea in my head recently.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yes, sir.
Saying
Yeah.
that a lot- I've been saying that a lot again.
That's such a dope concept. Like that's a super dope concept. Like I've never seen that. I haven't seen that happen yet. You know what I mean? And I think that'd be really cool, especially with like your style of music. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that it would. Yeah, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, Toxic showed me a link to streamer to me, and it's incredible what he does. He has a whole rig of cameras that are around him, zooming, like everything. It looks like he has cameramen there, lights
It's
on
so
sync
dope,
to his
man. Oh my
music,
gosh.
everything.
Damn.
It's insane. And then he stops the song, presses an applause button, and then he has like a little printer that prints out resubs. So he'll have like a whole trail of receipts, and he's like, "Hey, resub, thanks for resubbing," with their username on it. It's just insane. It's a good show.
That's sick.
It just kind of
Yeah.
makes you think about how you can shape your show in the future. You know, so
Yeah,
it's got the gears turning.
I like that. That's cool. That's super smooth. I dig that.
Yep, absolutely. Would I ever do how Scro does it and just get a drummer and play to a backing track? I at the time Harmfree for my live shows, because people keep asking, why don't you play live shows? Like people around where I live, and I'm like, around where I live, people aren't into my type of music. It's all classic rock and oldies type stuff. So I have to find like an emo night and stuff. But to answer more directly to your question, I think I would have to at this current time, I would just play a backing track and sing on top. Because I think about like, yeah, it's like it sounds like a full band behind you, so it's kind of weird seeing somebody sing to just kind of rock metal type music. But I realized that a lot of pop singers do it already anyway. They're just there with a microphone, they're singing. So I think it's a little different with the type of music I'm doing, but I think with enough experience and going, I could figure out a way to make it. And it actually might be an advantageous thing for me to do because very many people are doing it. So I could be at the start of something bigger, I'd like to think. So I don't know.
Another way how I see it too with like my streams and things like that, like, or at least it's like doing shows and things like that, because being a like instrumentalist, like it's easy for me to like put on like a backing track and just play along with it. And I've done that a couple of times before, like some shows that I've had to do. But at the same time, it's like I've seen other people do like shows on their own. Instead of just having a backing track and just playing one instrument, they got like 3 or 4 instruments ready for them. And they're like doing like in a way like a loop recording to a point like it's actually turning into an actual song instead of just being like random loop recording type thing, and it's just like I
Yeah.
don't know if any of you guys heard of the artist FKJ.
Oh,
I don't
he's
think
so
so.
good.
I love
He's
his music.
so
Man.
good. Yeah.
Like the other day, I was watching a video of his, and he was performing at like some art gallery in like France or something like that.
I saw that. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
And like he was just like putting it all together, and like the way you would think of it, it's just not like a regular like, loop recording that takes like 20 minutes to do. Like he did like a whole song within like 5 minutes, and like he had everything set up. Like he knew exactly what to do next and things like that. And it's just like I'm trying to like learn a little bit from that, and like trying to like how to place things correctly. That way you can actually make a song instead of like taking 20 minutes to form something. You know.
That what both of y'all were saying made me think of this other artist. I don't know if y'all have heard of her. Her name is Tash Sultana.
I don't
Nah,
think I've heard of it. Wow.
that kind of rings a bell, but not really at the same time.
So she did a Tiny Desk concert a couple years back. She's like an Australian singer, but she does something similar to where she has the I don't know what the instrument's called, but it's the one that's at your feet, and then you can do like the live like looping, like play like one part, hit that,
Yeah.
and then yeah. So she does a lot of that, and it's similar to kind of like how FKJ did it, but yeah, like that was such an incredible, and then she's just by herself. So she did every layered, different, different instruments and stuff. She layered every part live, and was just like did the background vocals, like, and then just went in. And I was like, yo, this is dope. Like it's such a cool concept that I had never seen before. Seeing that video with like FKJ and then her, and she did it too. But it's such a dope concept, and she just did all that. And it sounded literally like a band. Like she had a whole band with her, So
But like she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the band. It's like
She
that's
was the
fucking
band.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I was
Interesting.
so impressed. I'm like, this is wild, It was cool to see.
I'll end up figuring it out for sure. And
Yeah.
part of it is
100%.
I've made progress mentally over the last year in this particular topic because I was like, I don't really know how I would do it. Now I'm like, I have a concept of how I could just go up there with a mic with a backing track. Boom. That's it. And I think that's a starting point. Just start there, get live feedback. They're probably going to play to some empty rooms or cringe things or have cringy moments or get weird comments, but that's all part of it.
It's part
Like
of the
you get through it.
process.
And it's like what I said earlier. Sometimes it's best to just have a zero starting point because then you can just try whatever you want and you
Exactly.
improve. I think sometimes people have an expectation that have to be absolutely perfect before they do something. Like before they go live on Twitch, they have to have the lights, the this and that. For me, I understood that it's a building process and it's almost more fun that way because people who've been there the whole time can really see how things have grown, and it makes you a lot more of a respectable creator because it's like, oh, they are actively striving to make improvements and try to change things for the better.
Right.
Yeah.
They're actually taking that like constructive criticism and using it to their advantage to improve their craft at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when you get down on that, eyes, for sure, because
Yeah.
your music is very like there's so much to it. Like there's so much storytelling in each little and I find that super fascinating where you go from one aspect where you're singing and then now you're rapping and then the scream hits. I'm like, damn, like it's such a blend
Thank you.
of music styles. It's
It
dope.
makes you
It
wonder,
really
like, what
is.
the hell's gonna happen next,
Very
man?
blessed.
I'm looking forward to it. Like,
Yeah,
good.
like for real, man.
Thank
I've
you.
never heard music like yours, so I think it's pretty dope.
That's really blessing to hear. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Keeps it going, keeps me pushing.
Yeah, man.
I don't even know how to respond to that. We'll just move. I'm just too grateful for that. I'm too
Good.
grateful. for you guys. Speechless. About time eyes has become speechless. Always has some bullshit to say, right?
right, exactly.
Toxic said acoustic sets by guitarists and singers come out. Then you get me. How would I do solo shows if the bass is the instrument that I find myself drawn to? Oh, so Toxic's like, how would I do a live show if I'd like to play bass, it's like, yeah, you just stand up there on the stage, just just playing, just playing a bass solo the whole time. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I had one other question for y'all. I had one last one, and I was trying to, and I'm trying to figure out how to word it. How do I want to word it?
So you know what it is. You just want to.
Yeah, I just want to word it correct. It's about like your podcast. Like what? I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'm curious the story as to how it came together and how like the process is going, like how the podcast is going for y'all. Like, are y'all enjoying it? Because I think it's really cool. I think it's such a cool concept. Yeah, it's really dope. So I'm curious to hear y'all thoughts about the podcast.
I feel like generally, like Eyes and I, like came up with the idea. I don't exactly remember when we did, but I think the idea that we had behind it was just to help, help everybody connect with each other in a way, and just learn more about different aspects of creative fields, like such as music, art, acting, things of the sort. You know.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it.
Well, for me, I listen to podcasts too, whether they're political or whether they're music based, and I noticed that one of the frustrating things for me, they'll talk about issues or they'll talk about the struggles that they're going through, wherever their career choices and stuff, gives an answer and an idea or starting point of how to get out of that or where to go next. So that's why I kind of like to ask deeper questions and see what anybody listening or watching can be like, I now have an idea of a starting. That's one of my goals, is to create an entertaining show, to also hopefully give people some sort of direction in their creative field, and make sure that everybody understands, be listening, that they understand that they're not alone. You know, we might have more followers on Twitch than they do, or resounding, how do I say it, presence in one community or another. But it's important to remind them that we are exactly where they were, where they feel like they're stuck, and we're able to hopefully give some sort of answer that person feels like they want to ask, or bring on separate guests like musicians, actors, streamers, so on and so forth, to get their perspective on these issues. Because I think a lot of the times the answers are very similar, even though we're in different markets and different careers. And
that right there really shows that, like, even though everybody's in different creative fields, a lot of people have similar concepts of a lot of known issues, you know. That's what I love about it too. Everybody's able to agree on a lot of things in general.
Yeah.
And relate to each other. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like,
Yeah.
You've been through it in some way, shape, or form, you know? So, yeah, it's interesting. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's, and as to answer your question of how it's going, I think it's going fair. I mean, I think I get people frequently asking me, when's the next episode?
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah, whenever I come into your stream, Nick, you're like, how's the podcast going, man? Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so dope. Like, yeah, I got to kick back and watch and listen to the one with Fat Loud, and I was like, man, it's so cool. I was like, this is dope. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, good. Do you have any feedback on how you better, what you want to see differently, or do things seem kosher, fine?
I think y'all need to shart more on here. And I think y'all need to not push Shaylik Shack as much. Though that's my only feedback. That's my only feedback.
How do you expect me to shart when Shaylex is the master of? I can only learn from Shaylex how to sharp. And fair. By eating his bird, His burgers are so good, but they're always cold. I've never had a fresh one, but it's pretty much the best burger I've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, as
Same thing
long as
with
they're
their
still
milk.
good.
Same thing with their milkshakes, man. They're so good, but they're always warm.
All right. So it's like a soup. Got it. A milk soup.
No, it's like
Milk soup, yeah, exactly.
it's a solid cone with a swirl and everything, but it's warm.
Oh, okay. It's just warm. Got it. Don't ask, Prom. This is how it starts, bro. Don't ask. Don't.
I feel like I'm gonna just get sucked into it eventually.
Well, it depends on what
are.
it depends on what location you go to. Sometimes it's just a soup, but
That's fair.
there were
That's
chunks
fair.
in there one time, but I don't know what they were, but they were
I don't know what
They
these
were still
chunks were,
good.
but they're all right.
very good.
Could have been
good.
anything.
I asked the server, the cashier, like, what are these? He's like, they're edible. Trust me, bro. And I was like, thanks. So I ate them. He was
That's
right.
all you need to know.
They
Then I
actually
started-
charge more for those. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they do. They call them happy little accidents.
Happy accidents. What the?
Scamdelpha location. Yeah, the Scamdelpha location. Seattle is hit or miss. Yeah,
I
I'd
hate
say-
that.
Seattle.
Hey, Yaddle. He knows I hate that shit too. That's he knows it. Oh man, but no, honestly, like I love it. I love y'all setup. I think it's cool.
Thank you.
Y'all are super chill, laid back, welcoming. Y'all ask really dope questions. Yeah, and then you put spotlight on everything. Whether it's creativity or what affects that creativity on the outside. So I like it. I think y'all are doing a banger job, and I'm always looking forward to the next episode. And I appreciate y'all asking me to be a part of it. Like that was the quickest yes in the world. I was like, for real, I'm so down. Like it'd be so dope to hang and talk with
Well-
y'all.
Then I'll ask you, would you do it again? Should we seek you in the future?
Of course.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's another
yeah,
quick
yeah.
yes right there.
That's my second quickest yes. It
Hell
just
yeah.
happened. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this has been dope, man. Yeah, I would be super honored and happy to come back. This was dope. I had a lot of fun, man.
Good. What are before we close out, what are your future projects? What are some upcoming things people need to look out from you?
Oh, most def. Well, actually, you know what? It's been long enough, so I can actually say finally what the commercial was that I did back in late September. But it was for the mobile game Raid Shadow Legends. So
No
I did
way.
a commercial.
No
yeah,
way.
What?
yeah, it's just pretty cool. So
Now you're
Yeah,
going to
so-
accept the stream elements. Like the sponsor.
they're gonna be like,
It's brought to
did
you
we
by
hear what
Raid
you
Shadow
just said?
Legends. Like-
I'm gonna get all type of
Raid
scam
Shadow
emails
Legends?
now.
Are you serious? Let's go into this. Let's go into this.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was such a fun shoot. So hopefully that should be coming out within the next month. So I can share that with y'all.
Absolutely.
There's a couple other projects. I'm writing a short film that I'm gonna be acting into, which is going pretty well. The writing process is going good.
Where do you
It's
post
also
them?
it's most likely it's either going to be on YouTube or I'm going to push it to festivals depending on how it turns out. So
Okay.
if it all depends on, because I want to ask some of my classmates to help and it depends on like finances, how it's going to look, visually. If we can get some decent funding behind it by like investors and stuff, then it's going to be released in film festivals first, and then once it finishes the festival run, then I can release it on YouTube. But I also want to do like a YouTube show, or even just like somewhere like just a show for YouTube to just be releasing something like monthly, just to have
You
like
mean
a
like the-
storyline to
like
it,
the YouTube
like-
originals and things like that. In a way?
just like a series, like I want to do like a series and then just upload it to YouTube just to see how it does, and just another way to put out like not only my acting but showcase actors that I know and work with on a regular basis in class and stuff. So Yeah, I mean, those are the biggest things I would say that are in the works right now, which is it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. So, but yeah, yeah,
What do you
yeah.
feel like you, in terms of help and support, what do you feel like you need from us, anybody else watching or in the community?
Honestly, like just being there, checking it out, even if you don't even watch the whole thing, like that's okay too. Like I'm sure the views and stuff would help. But yeah, I'm the same. I hate promoting. I hate it. I hate. But yeah, I mean that's
I
like
hope I don't
just
come off as scummy, dog. I really.
you. That's how I feel. I'm like, oh
Right,
man, I feel like
exactly.
such an asshole. You know, like yeah, but nah, it's that honestly that like but the homies being there like you asking is a lot, you know what I mean, and just to get me to be able to say it out loud as opposed to not saying it at all, you know. So yeah, I mean that kind of support is, you know, it's priceless to me, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, yeah, I'm excited. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. I'm excited to share that with y'all once it's all said and done and
Do you
ready.
have a? I'm sure it's in production somewhat already.
Pre pro, so we're like writing and getting like the shots and stuff situated, like it's in very early pre-production, but yeah, it'll be cool when once it's
Yeah.
ready. I'll drop some links and share them with y'all for sure, for sure.
Yes, please
Good.
do. I would
Same
love
with
to
the
support
commercial
that.
too.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have a timeline as to when you think it would? Too soon to tell.
The like the show, like film stuff, you mean?
Yeah, the one that you're trying to, like the short film in the show and stuff.
My hope is next summer at the latest. That's
Okay.
my hope. By like June
25.
or July 25. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, at the latest. So, yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
hopefully we
quick,
can.
actually.
Yeah, yeah, it's a quick, but it's super short. So it's really not that long. I think it's going to be like 15 minutes long. So it's not long at all, but
That's, I thought like short meant like 5 minutes. 15 minutes is
that
good.
too.
That's a
Yeah.
good, that's a good length right there.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like it's a decent lane. Not too long, not too short. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it though. Should be dope.
Yeah, I mean, look at Prominent. He only needs 15 minutes to make someone pregnant through his music. So you have
That's true.
15
I
minutes to
mean, that's all it takes
That is
make plenty of
nowadays.
stuff happen.
15 minutes or less. That needs to be your tagline, bro. That's got to be, bro.
It only takes 15 minutes for Shaylex to give you his. It's already pre-made and everything, but it takes 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. It's pre-made and kept in the fridge and in the freezers and everything.
No, it's in the heater. It's just the heater's broken.
Oh, okay. That makes more
Yeah.
sense actually.
I,
That
I have
lines
to
up.
be the heater at that point, you know.
There you
It's
go.
like they
See?
use
That's
heat
it.
lamps. Well, they're supposed to use heat lamps, I should say, but they use regular light. The ones that like LED, they don't heat up, but at least the food looks good. That's the important, and it is good. It's just cold.
You are way too good at coming up with the shit.
For real though, he always does.
Oh man, Harmful
He's
makes it
so
easy.
good at it. Yeah,
Harmful,
unfortunately, he does.
he gave me he told me about Shaylex, and I've been conceptualizing.
It's part of the process now.
Uh,
And now you're doing it
well,
to everybody else eyes.
yeah, spanning it beyond Twitch.
You have to, you know, you have to. You got to share the awfulness that is Shaylex. You got to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I said, soon enough, I'm gonna be conceptualized by it soon enough.
Oh
And I'm gonna
no!
be talking about Shaylex in my streams, and people are like, "What the
Oh
fuck are
no!
you talking about?"
Who is this asshole you keep bringing up all the time?
Right?
Oh, see, Humphrey put Shay lawful. He is very lawful. He doesn't do anything to break the rules or anything like that. Shaylex's food grade is A. They go to the restaurant. Everything's legal. Very lawful, in line. Not awful, lawful.
I will not repeat what Harm just typed. I won't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. I can't.
When's your next stream? Do you have
Oh
any idea?
man. I am hoping for this upcoming Tuesday, but it just depends on work. But Tuesdays and Thursdays usually you can find me streaming. Usually around like 6 p.m. PST until too late. It's too late and too long. Yeah.
Open late. Open
Yep.
late. Hell
Yep.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we've kind of come to a good closing point of the show, but Prominent, you're the host.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely reached a good closing point right here. This was so much fun. And I'm glad that you were able to come on as a very special guest, Nick Howard. You know?
Yeah,
Oh
thank
man.
you for joining.
Thanks, y'all. Of course. Happy to be here. I appreciate y'all, man. This was a blast. This was a lot of fun. So yeah. If y'all are ever curious for another one, it's always yes. Always.
We
Hell
got
yeah,
a couple
dude.
of latecomers coming in here now.
Hey, squad.
But definitely, what I can definitely say is that if you guys came in late to the podcast, you guys can definitely catch it on Isaac's channel, or I have it on my channel as well as a playlist, or as a podcast called the Antiperfectionist Podcast.
Yeah, we have a YouTube channel. We'll put it in the Discord link as well.
Yes, for sure.
Nice.
But we do appreciate you coming through, Nick. We really do.
Yeah. You can find Nick at Twitch, and whenever we get the YouTube links up, well, I'll get those. Whenever we get the YouTube video out, I'll get the links from Nick as to platforms where you can find him as well, and put it in the description.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks again. I can't wait to share this, and share more of the podcast. So I appreciate it. Thanks again, y'all.
Definitely.
Hell yeah, dog. Anytime. And for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Eyes. I am a streamer on here. What am I typing?
I don't know what you're
There we
talking
go.
about.
I'm a streamer. I'm a streamer here on Twitch. You can find me over at the channel where I just shouted out. So feel free to check out that.
himself out.
Do
You'll
music
see
over
that.
there. And my other links are here too: Spotify, Instagram, Twix, YouTube, all the things. Thanks for the support, everybody.
Yes, and if you guys don't know me, of course, I'm Prominent BEG. I stream on here as well at twitch.tv/the Prominent BEG. I mean, you're here already, so yes, I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode of the Antiperfectionist Podcast. I'm looking forward to the next one where we have Nick Howard as a guest again in the future. You know.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. Yes, sir.
How about tomorrow?
Ready. Let's do it. How about tonight? Midnight. Let's do it.
Right, part 2, you know.
Hell yeah.
Harmfrey said, would you ever join Olasi's podcast Burger Time? It's a food production
No.
podcast.
No.
He said no.
Absolutely not. It's a food production. Harm, I can't stand you sometimes. I don't know if I ever said that to you before or not. I say it all the time.
But we love you though, man. All right, so anybody that's in here, I do appreciate y'all coming through to the podcast tonight, which was a ton of fun, you know. It's always a pleasure for y'all to come through. And then we're going to have the next one next month, of course. On a specific date, I'm not really sure. But we're going to, once we do figure out a new guest and things like that, I'll definitely let you guys know. But it's always a pleasure having everybody on here. Everybody coming in, just hanging out with the podcast and everything. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the rest of your night and day, and you guys are amazing as always, you know. And I freaking love all of y'all so much. And it's especially my co-founder of the Anti-Perfectionist community, you know, and of the Anti-Perfectionist Podcast as well. Wouldn't have been a podcast at all without him in here. So I do appreciate him as well. Much love to Eyes. And much love to everybody else within the community as well. What I'm going to do is go over here and just close it out. You guys have a wonderful night. You guys be easy, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Anti-Perfectionist Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. If you did, feel free to hit like, send a comment down below, and hit subscribe so you can see more of the shows forthcoming. The links for the hosts and the guests will be in the description below, so be sure to check out those, and we appreciate the support. Thank you for your time.